Welcome to episode 190 of Zapped to the Past. I am Adrian Mills and joined as always by Mr. Graham Raddings. If you haven't listened before, this is a podcast where we discuss games that were released for the Commodore 64. We're using the magazine Zap 64 as a monthly guide for the games to focus on, but we are in no way affiliated with Zap 64 itself. This week, we start our look at September 1991 and the first batch of games reviewed in issue 77 of Zap 64, along with what was also going on in the UK singles and albums chart that month. Graham, is it a super September or a sorry one?
Here we go. A new month is upon us. September 1991. The kids are now back at school. The shopping centres are empty. Incidents of shoplifting have dropped. A semblance of normality at last. So in a month that also saw the TV debut of the soon-to-be infamous Jerry Springer show in the US, we ditch our girlfriend and head off in an array of vehicles on an important mission to get the documents in a trail that leads us across an entire continent in Out Run Europa before nipping back across to the spreadsheet and stat-filled basic world of yet another Football Manager-style game. This time in the typeface alternative world of two-player soccer squad. September has always been a bit of a dull month, hasn't it? October has Halloween, November has Bonfire Night, and don't even get me started on December. So September is like a dentist's waiting room of a month. Boring magazines, dreary news, and not much else. So while we wonder if anything can make September more interesting, we dive into another single-screen puzzle game, and this time something that has plenty of interesting spheroid charm about it too, in the somewhat perfunctory The Ball Game, before finally preparing ourselves for some demo-style dithering, corner-shaded pixel painting, and a right old menagerie of sprites in the run, gun, and look for fun landscapes of Rubicon. I was a fully-fledged Amiga 500 owner by this point, so these games were all quite new to me in their C64 incarnations. It's impressive that they're pumping these out, even in the smaller numbers, but why, oh why, are there so many Football Manager games? Why? Mixed bag. Yeah. Mixed bag alert. Mixed bag.
It's a column A, column B. It's up and down. It's all over the place.
It is. It's what our survey says is a... I'll let you figure out what that is.
I don't know, but you've got a big smile on your face all of a sudden. It's quite worrying.
All of a sudden? I've been doing that for hours. Hours!
I wonder why you're half hour late for this recording. Taking the wife to a comedy show.
Yes. Well, that was, unfortunately, I did have to do that, but there you go.
There you go.
Well, fortunate for them. No, they probably enjoy it. I wouldn't want to enjoy that.
No. And I wouldn't either, because you told me who it was and I didn't even know who it was. Like,
nope.
I don't know. Who is that person? I don't
Catherine
know.
Ryan.
Anyway, means nothing to me. It's like O Vienna.
Any discoveries this week, Adrian, of yours? Anything I've discovered a thing. I won't tell you what it is yet, because it's totally unexciting. But
it's been a bit of a crazy news week, hasn't it? But discoveries. I don't know, really. No,
you've been buying the Switch too. Oh, I was going to say,
no,
yes.
I've got a new PC, which is nice.
Oh, right, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Is it better than the old one?
It is better than the old one. Yes, it's. I got it for a bargain. I got it for a bargain price.
Of
less
than $1 million.
Less than $1 million. Yeah. I'm not going to say how much, but it was a good bargain, and it's doing well. It's faster, powerfuler. We can rebuild it and all that kind of thing.
Excellent. All that trading between Lave and Dizzo's paid off.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah, absolutely. Going along in my, what was it? Is it the Cobra Mark 1? Was that
yes.
Is that the craft?
One of our, I'd say yes. It is the Cobra. I don't know if it's Mark 1 or what mark it was.
Or Mark 4 or something, is it? The Cobra Mark 4?
I don't know. With mining lasers for the mining you never do in the game, ever.
You don't do anything in the game ever.
No,
we know that. We proved it with tests.
To the Dizzo.
We proved it in tests. Despite what our Patreons keep telling us, We approved it conclusively in test.
We did. We have, and we did.
Yeah, we did. Anyway, what's your discovery? What have you discovered, Greg?
I have discovered that two things. Firstly, that Vallejo paints are actually, I think, better than Citadel paints, which I thought I would never say, but I think they are. And I am not a big fan of. I've been experimenting with the different kinds of, because there's new kinds of paint now, and I'm experimenting with contrast paints. And I have to tell you, I don't like them. Well,
that's a controversial opinion.
It probably is, actually, for people that prefer, because there's different paint styles these days. Some people prefer the old school way. That's me. Some people like to do it this new way with the speed paints or with the contrast paints. And there's some people that do more of a slapdash method, which they call it, I forget the name of it now, but it's basically you just get a dry brush, you just dry brush the shit out of the model, and that normally comes out pretty good.
They call it the 80 mils method. That's what I used to do.
Well, that's actually got a name. It's slap chop, I think they call it. Something like that.
I can get behind that.
But I'm just a voyage of discovery with these new things. You know, I've discovered that really good paintbrushes are actually a really good thing to invest in. It's been a voyage of discovery with this rebirth of my miniature painting. I have to tell you, it's still taking me a million years to paint the damn things, but there you go.
Well, you know, it's an ongoing hobby, isn't it? It doesn't have to be done.
Check this out. Check out, look, if you can camera, look at that. Check out my magnifying glass. Look at that. Brilliant. Look at that. You switch it on and everything. It's got a light and everything. Look at that.
I'm blinded. I'm blinded.
My eyes. My precious eyes. I need that to see the bloody things.
I don't need retinas. Oh.
Yes, where's my eyebrows? Where's my eyebrows? I'll dry brush them on later.
Absolutely. Even through the screen. My new PC's just conked out. What's going on?
It's a million lumens.
That was quite a lot. That was quite bright.
Yeah. Anyway, so yes, that's what I've discovered. So Vallejo paints for the win. Really good. Really surprised me how good they were.
I'm glad. Is it Vallejo? Is it Vallejo?
Yeah, Vallejo.
As in Boris Vallejo.
I would imagine so. Maybe it's something to do with that. Anyway, I got the ultramarine blue paint because I wanted to try that version rather than the McCrag blue, which is what you would normally paint ultramarines with in that register, in that legion. And I found it quite good.
These are not shades you'd find on the Dulux.
No, McCrag blue is the Citadel blue that's the default base colour for a ultramarine. But the Vallejo version is the ultramarine blue, which is actually, I think, a bit more matte, but really blends nicely.
McCrag sounds like somewhere you'd find your clag nuts.
Well, it might be, because then you've got to, of course, do the layer painting with both Teclis blue and Forensian grey, which is what you do your little specular highlights with if you really want to.
Nice.
Now you know. Oh, and of course, what's this one? I forgot this was hidden. Oh, it's Calgar blue as well. Old blues.
Calgar blue. Yeah. Doesn't that keep your washing machine
Don't meet your Calgar. Washing machines live longer with Calgar. Yeah, maybe they do. Anyway, but that's bye, you distractor. Yes, I'm having a lot of fun with doing that. I've actually now seem to have invested a ridiculous amount of money in this hobby, but there you go. That's what happens.
Okay. Actually, reminded me, called me a distractor. That just reminded me of a podcast that I was listening to, one of Dan Carling's history podcast.
Oh yeah.
And how English kings' names became really crap, after the Great and stuff like that. Then there was stuff like the Toothless, the Gormless, the Floppy and stuff like that.
Oh dear, wasn't it? King Reginald the Floppy.
There's loads of crap kings. And you just calling me the Distractor. I'd like that as my king name.
Adrian the Distractor.
The Distractor. What's going on over there? Oh, he's reigned for ages because no one can, we just come to us and he just takes us down a different alley. Matron. Anyway, we've got a cover to look at.
We have. Gosh, we've got so much to do. It's crazy.
4 games, music, stuff. Cover.
Yeah, loads.
So it's a Zap 64 cover. It's £2.20 now. Oof.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was noticing, something I did notice actually, about the magazine now, it's 76 pages long.
That's a lot less than it used to be, right?
It's a lot less than it used to be. And also, aside from an Ocean advert at the back and at the front, there's barely any adverts in the magazine now.
Really?
Any decent ones. You can see why they were going down the toilet, because they've not got any advertising money in. Yeah, if you look through the magazine, you realise that the same amount of text is there, but you realise that the magazine was longer because it had loads of adverts. Now they're all going.
Crazy.
This is the cover is Rubicon, isn't it? One of the games we'll be looking at.
Yes, actually, yeah. It's a man riding a monster. It looks like the one at Ghostbusters a bit, doesn't it?
It does a little bit, yeah. He does that in the second level of the game for no rhyme, no reason. We'll come to that a bit later.
Being menaced by a Mohican-bearing grabber, isn't he? From behind.
Grabber that seems to be spoofing loads of, I don't know, shards of brick at him or something, or rock.
Yeah.
What's going on behind him there?
I mean, he's filthy, isn't he? He's covered in oil. He's greasy, that guy on the back of that. He looks dirty. He looks like he needs a good wash.
Yeah, and he's not like the game either because he's not sporting a glorious mullet.
No, he isn't there, is he? He looks a bit like one of my old teachers from middle school. He looks like Mr. Wilkinson.
Did he often ride into school on the back of a demon?
He did. He actually did, yeah. It was very unnerving for everybody. Screech, he called it. It was really weird. I
wonder what shade of red that is as well, if you went by the Vallejo paint.
Well,
could you tell me?
I actually happen to have a pot of paint in front of me now, and that's not Mephiston red, but it looks a bit more like, I don't know, it's more of a crimson, isn't it? A bit of Mephiston in there, I think.
Bit of Mephiston red.
Mephiston, corn. I think there's corn red, I think, is another one. There's a slightly darker shade. I don't know. I didn't invest in my reds, and I really needed to for a cloak, so...
No. So there's a mega tape. You could have played Lords of Midnight.
It's not bad, is it?
It's all right. Yes, not bad. Yeah. Rubicon playable demo. Powerama.
That sounds rubbish. Is that like Ranorama?
I don't know. Quite possibly. I don't know. And there was Winter Camp playable demo. Will we see that later? It's a sequel to Summer Camp, one with that mouse in it. Now, Graham, I need to ask you a question. Would you like to win 5 Game Gears?
I don't know. I'd like to win 1 at the time, mate. Maybe, but the battery's life was rubbish on them, wasn't it? Like 2 minutes.
Maybe that's why they're offering you 5.
Yeah, you can just have them all in supply. Yeah.
Yeah, you just sort of cycle through them. You can also win a Ferrari.
Wow. Okay, that's a jump.
It's not. It's not a real Ferrari. It's a model one.
So you wouldn't get away with that now?
No, it's false advertising, isn't it?
Yeah. You wouldn't. They'd have to give away a Ferrari for that.
Yeah. That's
I suppose they are technically, but
didn't Pepsi come a cropper with that, where they said someone you can win a helicopter?
Yes, they did. Yeah, famously, they tried to get out of it and they couldn't.
Yeah, and as you know, and The Simpsons with Stampy.
Yes, as we all know. Yes, he won an elephant, didn't he? Stampy elephant. Yeah, but I wouldn't mind winning a Ferrari, but I suspect that's a lie.
Yeah, it's a model. You can look in the magazine.
It would do because that magazine didn't have £120,000. Clearly,
no, it did not. It did not. No.
It didn't have 120 quid.
No, I mean, I guess it's courtesy of US Gold Scorching race game Outrun Europa. There's something wrong with giving away a Ferrari for that game.
Well, there is one in it, but not a model one. Is probably better.
Yeah, probably. Mega Preview Winter Camp. Then there's Hudson Hawk. They've made a game of Hudson Hawk.
I know. I can't say I'm looking forward to that, but
no.
And then we'll wait and see. Smash TV as well, okay.
Yeah, Smash TV. And that's about it, really, and a barcode. It's an okay cover. I mean, the drawing's quite good. It's all right.
Who is it? Is it an Ollie Frey one, or is it a...
Yeah, that's definitely Ollie Frey, you can tell.
Yeah. It's got no sign on it. No, he signs and probably is somewhere. It's probably buried under a sticker or something.
It's probably under the barcode. I think it is under the barcode if you scroll in. There's something under there.
Yeah, there's something under there. Yeah, it might be actually, yeah. But yeah, it's not the most adventurous cover. It's not terrible. And there is a nice detail where there's a thing breaking and it's just over the 64 logo, which they stopped doing for ages because it had that stupid block round it. Now that's gone. They're free to do things like that.
Yeah, that song free. Anyway, yeah, there we go. It's an okay cover. It's okay. It's a good Oliver Frey one. That's it. Should we get into some games, Graham?
Yeah, I think we should.
Good. I think it's about time. Let's get to our first game.
Yo, Outrun.
And that first game, well, it's over to you, Mr. Raddings, to tell us it's a game mentioned on the cover. You could have won a Ferrari. Here's what you could have won, though. It's Outrun Europa.
Yes, Outrun Europa, a non-sequel, really, this. Because, well, there's a little bit of a story for that, but it was $10.99. This was going to crush you. But it got 94% in Zap, which is quite high.
That is high.
Yeah, quite high. It was published by US Gold, of course, because I think they had the exclusive license for this from Sega, of course, who owned the copyright. But it was developed by Probe Software. Now, they developed the previous one, which was Turbo Outrun. So they developed Turbo Outrun. And this is produced by Neil Young. He was...
just busy off his tour.
Yeah, it's just slightly off brand here. He was, keeping him rocking in the free world and then decided to produce this. He'd also produced Robocop 3 and Smash TV, or it does at some point.
Well, bit of a change of direction for him. Coded
by the unfortunately named Neil Coxhead. He did ATF. Do you remember ATF? You liked that, as I recall.
I think, it was all right. Technically, that was quite clever.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that's a phrase we'll be coming back to. And Galaxy Force and Robocop 3, of course, he did. Now, the graphics here are by Drew Northcott. He did Bigfoot and Combat Zone. I don't know if we've got them or we'll ever get to them. It's also Mark Jones, of course. Now, he's done a few, and he Altered Beast, Arkanoid, Jailbreak, R-Type, Rampage. He did a few. And the musician here, well, of course, it's Haroon Tell, however you want to say it. I don't think it matters anymore. He's done loads of stuff. Afterburner, Alley Run, Battle Valley, Baywatch, Castle Boy, Cashman, Cybernoid, Dan Dare, Death or Glory, Eliminator. There's tons of them. Go and look it up on Lemon. There's loads. Loads. Probably too many. Maybe he's done too many. So this came out on loads of stuff. Amstrad, Spectrum, Commodore 64, Sega Master System, Game Gear, Atari ST, Amiga. Wow. But what was it really? Well, this is a strange thing because this was kind of a sequel that shouldn't be. And it's that because it's not an official sequel to any kind of Outrun. The official sequel to Outrun from Sega was Turbo Outrun. That was the one. And they simply added a turbo button and some extra fiddle faddle to the otherwise great Outrun game that we all came to know and love. This one, they've got a really interesting entry on the games that weren't, because this was actually Outrun Europe originally. And this was pitched to them by, I guess, the people that were involved, but Probe Software essentially pitched this to US Gold as a kind of sequel to Outrun. But this was just pipped because at that exact moment, for reasons that we'll never really know, Sega went, we're releasing a sequel to our own game. And then, of course, there was the dilemma. Now, this had been developed to the point when it was pretty much ready to go. So this was all but finished, this Outrun Europe. And then US Gold and Probe had to make a decision. Well, US Gold made the decision to redevelop a version of Turbo Outrun because they wanted an official sequel, which, of course, they did. And it got success and all the plaudits and yada, yada, yada. This one got kicked into the long grass for a while. So this has been around since 1989. But this one got kicked into the long grass and then it was kind of rejiggified into Outrun Europa. So what we've got here is kind of a version, and it's pretty close. There's actually some demo footage of it on the games that weren't of the original Outrun Europe, and this is pretty close to it. But interestingly, there's some parts that were stolen from that version of Outrun Europe for Turbo Outrun, which includes the music. So the music for this version was never really designed for this. Sorry, the music for Turbo Outrun was actually designed for Outrun Europe, and then stolen, put on Turbo Outrun, music that we really liked. You know, it became pretty high in our end of year music awards, didn't it? And so this version then is what was left over. So there's a really interesting entry on the games that weren't. There's far more detail in their blurb about this than I'm going to go into detail of right now. You can look at some of the screens from the original. Outrun Europe was less feature-rich than this, but it did feature an actual Ferrari car. It was more of an Outrun game variant. Still had some of the logic of this in it, which we'll talk about, the sort of the chase logic, but it was principally pushed aside for Turbo Outrun and then brought back because I guess they figured that, you know, there's more meat in the claws, as we like to say. So here we are. That's the sort of tale of how this game came to be, really. Now, interestingly, there's a little bit of a tale to this. So there's a scenario for an Outrun game, and the scenario says, why had they given you, Simone Kurtz, the most senior operative from Unit 6, the task of a simple mail drop in Berlin? This was surely a task for a junior employee who needed the experience. Did we ever need narrative for Outrun? Did it ever need a narrative like this? Anyway, however...
They've looked at Turbocharge, that's what it is.
Exactly. However, as you emerged from the basement in a seedy London backstreet, your head pounding with pain, you instinctivly knew that the bad guys had made off with the secret documents. Not the documents, Adrian. What have they done with the documents?
Lisa,
would you hear what we said in the room? Lisa. And people who don't know what that means, go and watch Enter the Game of Death 2, and you'll know exactly what we mean. Film with Bruce Lee. Anyway, by the by. So what's more, they've taken your Ferrari F40 as well. Okay, must have taken it all the way to the 5th level. You contact control. Bad move. As he puts the phone down. The writing of this isn't great, I'm sorry to say. You have this feeling that your own guys are going to be after you. Okay. You have only one choice. Retrieve the documents and deliver them as planned. You hadn't had that plan. I'm not going to debate this for too long. Which should clear you with the department.
Why?
Fortunately, doesn't matter.
Someone's nicked him.
Fortunately, you still have the tracking device homed into the briefcase, but the signal is growing faint.
Why would you have that?
Don't even think about it. Just be Simone Kurtz for a moment. As you walk around the corner, your spirits rise as you see a motorbike standing outside a cafe. I've had that loads of times.
Outside a cafe.
Yeah,
just waiting
I've walked
someone.
around there loads of times. Anyway, that's your instructions. That's it. Outrun Europa has 7 levels of racing action spread out over Europe. Here's a list of the levels and the vehicles that the player uses. In England, motorbike, Channel, jet ski, France, Porsche, Spain, Porsche, Mediterranean, powerboat, Italy, Ferrari F40, Germany, Ferrari F40. Okay, there you go. So did we need that? Now, what that will tell you initially is that this is not really an Outrun game, and that's something I'm going to be saying frequently. So I thought this started with a nice title screen. Okay, it's not ace. There's a little bit perspective issue on the car, and it's not the right car, but it's got the Outrun tropes about it. It's got lively but annoying music for this. I don't think it's a patch on Turbo Outrun, any of this really, and certainly in the presentation. But there is these little in-between sort of interstitial bits, which are in total silence, which is annoying. Keep the music going, because it beggars belief. This is a big multi-load. I played the easy flash kart version because I didn't fancy the multi-load, so I imagine it's lots of separate loads and whatnot. And then when the game starts, you're introduced to your motorbike on what is a fairly busy screen. The main window of the game is at the top. You've got the score, your timer, your speedometer, and the score at the top. Graphics in the middle. Your motorbiker is in the middle of the road at the bottom, which is split into 4 sort of lanes. An average size double sprite, really, not too bad. And then at the bottom, there's a UI. I'll explain all of that. It's England level 1, which is where you start. I thought, okay, the idea of these games is to race through these levels before your timer runs out. And that's how that is a bit of Outrun. But in this, you're on a mission to get those documents. So you've got to go through all the different levels. There's no choices you can make here. It is just straightforward level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and all the way through. And the only novelty here is that you're on different vehicle types, of which, for reasons that aren't really explained, you're chasing these documents down. So level 1, I think I'm going to say this from the start. It's technically impressive when you first see the game, when it first starts. There's lots of things moving around with background and scenery. The main game window is, like I said, the full screen managed the UI at the bottom that shows your boost level, any things of concern nearby, and your vehicle speed, I think. The game window is an impressive display of side details moving at quite the pace, I thought. The payoff, though, is that there is very little on the track itself, aside from the odd car and police cars now and again. Sprites are well-sized, and decent versions-ish of what they are, I suppose, but there's not many of them. There's good use of colours on the old C64 in this, actually. It's quite green, and there's quite nice detail. It moves at quite a pace. Generally, things move well, I thought, but controlling your vehicle, well, that's easy enough with the joystick directions, up to increase speed, and fire button for your boost, which I guess would be your turbo, really.
Mm-hmm.
You can top that up along the way by picking things up along the track. So there's little objects like bees and not bees, but things with a letter B on that you can pick up. And the tracks, I suppose, are varied in a way. They've got jumps, but that'll bring me to one of my annoying things about the jumps. But there's jumps in there as such, track bends. There's decent bends to navigate. There's tunnels as well, hills, tree line roads, all that kind of stuff in the driving sections. Okay. It's a fairly straightforward race game in that respect. Nothing too grand about it. Not doing anything too terrible. And oddly, you're on a motorbike though. So it doesn't feel like Outrun. Immediately, it's not Outrun straight away. Music's okay in the background. Some odd sound effects when you go past cars or when you get bumped by other cars, which also happens in this, which doesn't happen in Outrun. So you can't bump cars. And if you're on a motorbike and you get bumped, you are coming off that motorbike. You can't just sort of go, oh, you bumped me with your 1-ton vehicle on my motorbike. Oh, I'll just get over that. It doesn't work that way, does it, in reality? And then there's also police cars in this, which will attempt to arrest you in a way that I'm not sure how that kind of works. I just kind of sped past them all the time. So they provided no real challenge, which is kind of the problem a lot of this, really. It's not really that challenging, apart from just more annoying. And you can just boost past things while you've got boost. So you'll get past that because you'll just drive to the end of that. And it's no real indication of proper stages or anything in this. You just kind of race till you stop, and then you'll get to the end of that, and then you're in channel level 2, which is the channel. This is where you're on a jet ski, and things aren't very good, really, from here on in, I have to say. The water effect is okay, but there's no real lane markers or ways to differentiate where you are. So it's hard to gauge directions and bends and control things, and you're just sort of flying around. There's a real inertia vibe, a really strange inertia vibe on this. So it controls like the motorbike, but they've hidden the road with blue. And the problem I've got with that is that you've got bumps and waves to go over, like you had bumps and hills in the first level, but you can still control the bike when it's in the air. And so you end up flying off to the left all the time or flying off to the right when you're in midair, and then you can't seem to really control it properly. So you end up flying into the sides of vehicles. It's really annoying. It's like an annoying thing that it does.
Yep.
Anyway, you'll get to the end of the jet ski level, and then level 3, you're in France, but it's now you're driving in a Porsche. The details are kind of French themed-ish, but then I have to triumph in the background, I guess. But the vehicles look really drab now, and the Porsche you're in is grey, and really you should be in a red car if it's an Outrun game, and in a Ferrari, and you're not, you're in a Porsche, all right? But it plays out very much like the first level, similar, slightly less detail maybe on the sides. Still get tunnels and all of that. The tunnel effect is nice, but brief. When you get through that, you're in Spain, which is odd. You're in the Porsche again, but this time everything is just, you seem to be in the yellow deserts of Spain, of which I don't know that there's a lot of deserts in Spain. but you're in a grey car again, and it feels less detailed, even less so than the previous one. And it's also, now you're getting kind of boring because the car's quite small in this and controls exactly like the motorbike and the jet ski. There's no difference. And so you don't really feel like you're going fast or slow. But you're in a Porsche, you should be going really fast. Motorbike's extremely fast. Jet ski, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like there's much variation. When you get to the end of that, level 5, you're in the powerboat and the Mediterranean. I think the water levels are easily the weakest part of any of this game. It doesn't really control much like a powerboat and doesn't look much like one either. And it's just a repeat of level 2. It's an exact copy of level 2, only with a different graphic, which is a bit of a cop-out. Mm-hmm. After that, you're in Italy in the Ferrari, finally. The only level that has a feel of an actual Outrun game, and it's more or less the exact remake of the Spain level with a different car. It's a red Ferrari, okay, but there's no girlfriend in it, and you're still chasing down documents and being menaced periodically by helicopters and things. It's stupid. Not very much fun either. Final level, Level 7 sees you in Germany in the Ferrari F40, a night driving level for no reason whatsoever. It needed that way earlier in the game, or as part of one of the levels. It doesn't play very well. It's clearly Spain in the dark, really, that. But there's a nice vibe, I guess. It sort of catches that. But a few details would have just finished that off, wouldn't it? Headlights, or just stuff that makes these levels a little bit better. It lacks any of that. It's just a repeat of the different game level logic with the different graphics, slight color variations generally, or whatever. And then it all ends with a simple message and some scenes, and then you get back to the start before you get arrested in kind of a jokey bit, and that's it. So the core issue for this, for me, really, is a simple one. This is not an Outrun game. Straight off the bat, it's not. As a wise man once said in, I believe it's in the film Fight Club, sticking feathers up your ass doesn't make you a chicken. And so it's true with that here. And don't take my word for it, I've not tried that.
Fight Club?
Yeah, he says sticking feathers at your ass doesn't make you a chicken. And it's true. Just because this has got the word Outrun on it doesn't make it an Outrun game. But that's what they've tried to go for. It's about as far as it goes. I mean, I get it. This is a sequel that was caught in a trap. It was pitched and it was and then an actual sequel came out and they did that. But fundamentally, though, Outrun is not cops and robbers and chasing down documents through different levels of Europe, nor is it a sort of Chase HQ variation. The tone of Outrun, that kind of Miami vibe that was replete in the original game, is utterly lost here in transforming the game of what is essentially a road touring game with taking your girlfriend for a spin and driving in a supercar and just picking the lanes and avoiding the traffic and choosing your route, or even the basics of a race. It turned that into a crappy car chase in an array of stupid vehicles. Outrun is not about motorbikes, jet skis, or powerboats. They did separate games for those things. Even Porsches, you're pushing your luck here. Now, I'm a huge fan of Outrun. I mean, especially the original Outrun arcade. It was a real landmark arcade. It sort of, I don't know, it's just one of those arcades everyone remembers because of its sort of, not necessarily the C64 version, but just the concept of Outrun as a game is very powerful. It was new Sega hardware, it was hydraulic, it was really fancy, had that amazing music, which still stands to this day as good, none of which is reflected in this version. It was not about motorbikes or any of the other vehicles. I mean, to think the first Outrun, and even Outrun, and Outrun Europe as it was, at least it had Outrun at its heart, and that's really what makes Outrun. It's those key things. So while this is a technically clever game, there's some clever stuff in around the edges of getting these things moving. I mean, it's got a lot of road detail and a lot of that is pretty fast. And okay, that control's okay. There's not much on the road, but okay, that if you wanted to just race about. But clever programming aside and the occasional nice detail, this falls way, way short of what I expect from an Outrun game. So I don't know. I like the game that's in here to an extent. I do. There's parts of it that I could sort of say, okay, maybe you could have a bit of a race about. But why would you buy this if you're going to buy... You'd buy Turbo Outrun. You wouldn't ever buy this. You'd already own this and a much better version of it. So there's some nice hit bits in it here and there, but this is not an Outrun game. And like I said, just because they put Outrun on the box and covered it with Outrun decal, underneath all of that, there's actually a pretty boring race game through Europe. And, well, there's been loads of other better games that do that. So I didn't like it. I wasn't opposed to its idea. And there's some clever code there from the guy that coded it here and there. But fundamentally, this massively misses the mark of what really is Outrun and what really is at the heart of an Outrun game. And all of the things they've added here, it's that, do you call it again? It's the subtraction by addition, is it you call it?
Yeah.
Where they've just added so much to this to try and, I don't know what for. What was the point? Outrun was perfect as it was. You don't need to be some half-assed story about coming out of an office and seeing a motorbike and all that nonsense. So, no, not an Outrun game. Not an Outrun game. What did you think?
No, I didn't like this. And I think I found it much harder than you obviously did. I found it quite tricky, but there's reasons for that. And for me, this is where we see the difference between something like Turbocharge and this. Because I thought Turbocharge kind of wants you to enjoy it, shooting stuff, blowing stuff up, powering through the stages, all those interstitial images of you going through the sort of border gates and all things like that. It's fun, and it's Chris doing his thing, and it's it's good. I think this just like almost wants you to stop playing. It wants to get in your way. There's some nice visuals, like I said, and I think we'll both agree. Yeah, tunnels, White Cliffs of Dover, those kind of things, the hills, road effect is good. Taking off over the ramps is fun when it's on a straight. When it's on a corner, it's just sail off to the right. Yeah. You're like, I can't do anything. Okay. But then they scupper it by making everything on the road. I found everything on the road faster than me. I'm on a bike. I should be whizzing past these bloody things. And I can only do that. And I can only do that if I hold down boost. But the thing is, boost just goes, gone. Yeah, it's like, so then you get then the police appear, and I couldn't get away from them. And then they just go in front of me and do that move with me, and then arrest me and send me back to the beginning. Because they say, do you want to continue? Like, yeah, okay. But they send you back to the beginning of the level, as far as I can make out. And that's not a continue. No, I want to continue from where I am. What else? Yeah, the boost runs out too quick. You slow down. If you slow down so fast, if you're not holding up constantly, it hurt my thumb. But it's just tech-wise, yeah, it's good, and it's obviously learned from Turbo Outrun, Chase HQ2, those things that Probe have been doing. Don't get me wrong, but it's up against Turbocharge, in my opinion, for what we've had just recently, and that is way better than this. You need to be faster here. You need to be more nimble, especially on a bike. I don't get it, and as you've nothing handles particularly differently. It's like this, and I don't understand the boat bit. I don't, because it's like. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I didn't like this. I didn't like it at all. I was expecting to. I've been enjoying some of the races that we've had recently. But this, I think, is a dip down in quality and certainly not worth 94%. You get kind of glamoured, I guess, at the time by the nice visuals and everything like that. But it's empty, and then when it's not empty, it's annoying.
Yeah, and it's not Outrun.
Fundamentally, it's not an Outrun game. No. I mean, Turbocharge had forks in the road.
Yeah. Yep.
Where's the forks? Where's the choices? Where's the cool just drive? The thing is, right, Outrun Europa, as you say, take away this stupid plot, and you could do Outrun across Europe. All that cool scenery that Europe has, whether it's UK, France, Germany, Spain, Sweden, the Nordic, all there's loads of great, amazing countries, Italy, that you could have sort of taken here, spiking off, doing what Outrun does, but going across Europe. I mean, that takes no effort at all to think up. That's right. And would have been a better Outrun game. But instead, they stuck this stupid chasing documents nonsense on it. I don't know. Don't get it. It's Outrun, you're out of here, what I say.
Yeah, very much so.
There we go. That's Outrun Europa. No, not an Outrun game. Let's move on, because we've still got one game to play in this part. And that game, well, it's two-player soccer squad. Hey, $3.99 and got 38%. Right. How many of these management games, Graham, did Cult Games and their full price owner D&H Games make? How many? And why are they all tedium personified? Why? Why are they all that? I don't know. We may never know the answer to these questions. Yeah, exactly. But here we have another example of Cult Games' adherence to making the most boring, somnambulistic software known to man. Even with the excitement of the possibility of two players, that's what it says in the instructions, this is still stupidly dull. But let that not deter us from examining it and giving it a review. So yeah, $3.99. This was programmed by Jay Parnell. He also did Football Champions in 1990. That never got reviewed in Zap, thank the Lord. But I imagine it's very similar to this, because looking at screenshots for that, it's got the same font. So I'm thinking, okay. Anyway, loading this up. It first asks us if we want to continue a previous save game. Of course, you won't have one. Why would you? Why would anyone have one? So then we get an off-center name of the game before it asks us if we want 2 or 3 points for a win. Okay. Then gives us a chance to edit the 20 teams in the game. Because you see, Graham, this has got a story slightly. It's got a bit of sci-fi spice.
Oh gosh.
This is no ordinary league. No, this is based on a future super league with, as the instructions point out, the possibility, as I said, of another player. I love that. It's got the possibility of another player. That's a lie. As you've been chosen as a manager of one of these Super League teams, you must battle against all the other Super League teams, needing all your skills as a manager to succeed. Most of that isn't true. If you don't want to edit the teams, player one gets to pick their team. It's all keyboard-based, this. You just type a number in. It's a mixture of English, sort of I think at the time Premier League teams and Scottish teams. So there's no European sides in this so-called Super League. No Barcelona, no Real Madrid, no PSG, no Bayer Leverkusen. No, none of the big ones. No, it's just Europe and Scotland. So England and Scotland. Once picked, players 2 must also pick a team, negating the statement where you have the possibility of another human player. You have to pick another team. There has to be 2 players. But you can just ignore them. You can just ignore the second player if you want to, which is what I did. Which is weird. Okay. It's a weird game, this. It's not been very well thought out. Once picked, you get to pick the skill level for each player from 1 to 5. There's no indication whether 1 is good or bad, or 5 is. It just says skill level 1 to 5.
You may never know.
Is 1 good? We may never know. Playing safe, I picked 3 for each one. I tried it on a few different variants. It didn't see much difference. You then get to pick the speed of the matches when they're displayed from increments of 1 minute to 3 minutes, I think. Sorry, 3 minutes to 10. Pick 10. For the love of God, pick 10. I think you might be able to do it for 1 minute. I can't remember. You're then asked if you want to be a player manager. And if you do, you can enter your own name and be part of your own squad. That's quite cool, I guess. Once done, we finally get to the game. And as is ever the case in these cult games, you have a series of options, which you select with a keyboard. These are, you can play a match. You can see a squad. And in here, you can pick and choose your starting 11. And at this point, you can pick the stupidest of squads. There's no sort of formations or anything. So I was Liverpool. I picked 3 goalkeepers to be playing and a forward in goal because you could just swap them in and out anywhere. I mean, you could do that for real life, but you'd think strategies and stuff, but none of that. You can edit names to players here as well. You can then pick to slowly look at the league table. Oh, Lord, slow. You can look at other clubs, see the cup draw, fixtures and tables. You can see the form tables. You can look at fixtures, check out team injuries and goals, assign a scout to view a player, and then you can save the game if you want. You can also select to move on to the next player. You don't have to. You can just ignore them and play at one player. So you just press play game, and it just plays, selecting play the match option just takes you to the game. All right. There's no strategy whatsoever. The only input, the only difference you have is on picking your first 11. And I don't think you can pick substitutes. You just pick the first 11 and that's it. So because you pick play match and then we get all the 10 games, because there's 20 teams in the league being played, that's a timer goes up above them. Underneath this, we get informed of any goals that are scored in all the matches and the scores update as they come in. So the games update in the increment you told it at the beginning. If you picked 1 or 3, you're waiting for quite a while because it does that increment 3. If you go 10, at least it goes up in 10 minutes. There's no option to do anything. You can just watch the scores come in, and when they do finish, my stupid team won 3-1, by the way. I thought it was funny, but there you go. You then get the weekly news for your team, which is financial. So you just get gate receipts, how much you've made, that sort of thing, wages. Then you get told to wait, and then we're back to the main menu to do it all again. And that's it. None of this is worthwhile.
No.
None of it. There's no strategy to any of this. Results are random and arbitrary. There's no way to affect a game when it's playing. You can choose to scout upcoming transfers, but who cares? Although I was tempted to see if I could get a team entirely consisted of goalkeepers and see what happened. That would have taken effort and time, both of which I did not wish to expend on this game. This is a deeply dull and broken affair. It's also silent. There's no sound effects at all, anywhere. It's all played out in mute horror. There's no point to any decisions made and no way to influence anything once the game starts. It's boring on every level. I keep saying this about these cult games, but these games are so boring. The only thing that might be redeeming about this is that if you have someone you don't like, then invite them round for a season of this. I guarantee you'll never see them again. So if you want to get rid of people, just do that. It's just more shite from cult games. It's just awful. It's utterly broken. There's no strategy to this. It's a football manager game, but it's not because there's no strategy. There's no management. Garbage. Take it away. Shoot it. What did you think?
What did I think? You're funny, aren't you? All I've written, I've got a screen grab, which was of the actual game running, which was just text on the screen that said week 1, time 0 minutes, half time. Everyone was at 0-0. Goal scorers, none. So my one-word review was no. No more. No. More boring tables of football guff. No. That's it.
I think you're running into your wall of this, aren't you? You've something's going to have to be particularly special to sort of break you
for a minute this. When it asked me if I wanted to be a player manager or not, and I was like, ooh, maybe it'll, and then no, it was just I thought there might be some kind of game visual in there. Have they not learned? No, it was just rubbish, boring guff. Just it's the same as all the other games. I don't get how are people who bought this and if they've bought any of the other games from these clowns, and they're going to look at this and go, this is just a different typeface. And it's also written in BASIC, for goodness sake.
Oh, is it? I didn't check.
Yeah, stick it up your ass. It's a piece of shit. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Two-player soccer squad.
Rubbish. Utterly frigging rubbish.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happened.
I mean, I didn't like that Manchester United game that we looked at in the last episode, but it was way better than that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, and this is £4. £4 is way too much for a basic game with just text, and that you can't tell me that they drew that typeface. They've ripped that off from somewhere.
Well, it's probably. I mean, it's used in the first game, so I think he's probably nicked it just somewhere. Who knows?
Egg.
Proper egg. Yeah, there we go. Two-player soccer squad. We might have to have a proper... At the end of the year, we might have to have a category in the Breadbin Awards for these.
Crappiest game. Manager game,
crappiest simulation game.
Crappiest cult game. The Cult Games Award for the crappiest cult game goes to Cult Games. We can give it now.
Give it now. Yeah, there you go. Well done. If you'd like to contact us to come and collect your award.
I've never written a one-word review of a game for this entire podcast ever in all of the episodes, but this was it. It just says no. And that was it.
Yeah, I can understand that. There you go. Outrun Europa 2-player soccer squad. That's our first two games for September. We're going to go away, take a break, because we need one after those two, and come back where we will listen to some music and see what is, what's going on down the old disco. September 91. Stick with us. And we're back. We're listening to some music, and we are listening to the same thing as we listened to last month with the number one single all month. Again, it's Everything I Do It For You by Brian.
You did say it was going to be there a while, so...
It is, isn't it? Yeah. God bless Robin Hood. Did you send us a clip of that, didn't you?
I did, yeah, because I turned the TV over, I kid you not, flicking through the channels on the movies channels. That was on, and it was that exact moment. I just turned over and he went, oh, God bless Robin Hood. It's just at that exact moment. So.
It's just as you sort of follow, like, God bless Robin Hood.
It's that whole sequence is hilarious where they're just, they're not giving out jewels and stuff. They're giving out one, but he gives this guy a loaf of clearly bread, but it's obviously fake bread. He's like, he huddles it like it's a small animal. He's like, bread.
That's more useful to them in middle-aged times than a jewel, I guess.
Yeah, true. Because who are they going to sell that to? No one. No one's fencing that stuff back then. No, even Bobby the Fence wasn't around then.
No, and you can't eat a gem or a bit of gold.
You can eat it as many times as you like. It's going to come out as it went in. You ain't digesting that.
That's true, I suppose.
And that could pierce your colon. You don't want that. Not in the Middle Ages.
You don't want that now.
No, you don't.
No, never. There's never been a time in human evolution where the piercing of one's colon has been all right.
I think they could do something about it now. Back then, you were done. That's it. If you didn't poop out the jewels, you were done. If you did, you might be done.
Yeah, you would be. And they've got a lot of albums. It's a 5-week month. These are all 1-weekers. So Joseph and His Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat by Jason Donovan is number one for the first week.
Hanging around like a dirty pair of underpants in a 1980s multi-story car park, that.
That's a grim image.
Yeah, exactly.
I've seen that.
Need I say more? We've all seen that.
Replacing that is From Time to Time, the singles collection by Paul Young for another week. The Honk.
Great. Yeah.
On Every Street, replace that by Dire Straits for a week. Lots of noodling, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he is a noodly guitarist, isn't he?
He's a noodler. Use Your Illusion 2, beating Use Your Illusion 1, was 1 week.
Weird. They came out on the same day. Weird.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses. They were 1 and 2, weren't they?
Yeah.
I suppose we'll talk about that a bit later. And finally, for the last week of the month, was Waking Up the Neighbours by Bryan Adams.
Yeah, it was the album. Yeah, we'll talk about that later as well.
Yeah. Anyway, singles. 1st of September, in at number 18, Word Is Out by Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was aiming for a more American funky style, but it's not very good.
No, I didn't rate it. I think it was not one of the stronger singles, really, that.
No. Number 25 is Hearthammer or Hearthammer. I'm not sure. Hearthammer, I presume, by Runrig.
Hearthammer, I guess, yeah.
Hearthammer.
Runrig. Channeling the Dire Straits, I felt a little bit there. Sounds a lot like the Sultans of Swing, that.
Yeah. There's a comment on YouTube which says they're quite popular.
Yeah, but I've never really, because I don't know, this side of the Scottish border, I don't think they got a lot of attention, but clearly in Scotland, people were digging it because the footage in the videos, like big, massive gigs and concerts, and very patriotic it is, isn't it? But
like I said before, I was only ever aware of them because they're next to Rush in the in the where you would see them in
the buckets or what they would call them.
What they called record fairs,
plastic bins in the record fairs. Yeah,
I like that. And at number 26 is The Big L by Roxette.
Yeah, The Big Love. It wasn't a terrible, terrible song, but the video was dubious, wasn't it? Full of weird outfits and odd colorizations.
Yes, we'll see a bit of that this month.
Yeah.
But I thought this was weak, ineffectual arse.
Yeah, it's not a strong release from them, considering that, but they've peaked. So where do they go? They had those big hits and they kind of peaked really early, so they didn't build up to that. They had the 2-3 big hits and that was done.
Yeah. When you think about Roxette, it's all those other tracks, and we've had them.
Yeah, nobody thinks of this one, but you think of Joyride, or you think of the one from the big movies and stuff, and it's not that one.
Yeah, number 29 is "Making Happy" by Crystal Waters.
Oh God, no! This is, and pardon my language, really fucking awful. I mean, really bad. I mean, and I like house music, but even by any stretch of the imagination, this is taking it too far. Clearly, the last drone of a song that this idiot released wasn't enough to convince them that singing a tuneless off-key dirge over a house track is any good. Nothing good can come from that. There's so much wrong with this track. I found myself categorizing them as I was hearing it, and I couldn't really stand to watch it. I realized that if you did watch it, I said to you, if you've managed to make your way through that, I'll give you a lollipop. It's just dreadful, this. And even the video, chroma key crap. It's just rubber. It's awful song. No, from the person that made La Da Dee La Da Da. So guess what it sounds like? It's fucking shit.
Yeah, it's very, very bad. I didn't get a lollipop. I couldn't make it my way through this.
So bad.
Bugger that. And at number 31 is "Peace" by Sabrina Johnston.
Do you remember this song?
I didn't. I read your review of it, write-up of it, and I was like, oh, this sounds familiar. Then it played, and I went, yes, I remember this.
Yeah, it's the piss song. Peace in the valley, piss in the city. Everyone was pissing everywhere. Huge, massive hit in the clubs and bars at the time. Oh, the pissy ones. But like I said, everyone heard it because you couldn't really escape it, because at some point you'd be getting get the drinks in, you'd be at the bar waiting for the barman or bar lady to cast their eye in your direction. And that time you'd hear, peace in the valley, peace in the city. And I really need a piss now, actually. I'm going to have to leave this bar and go, and I'm going to be unpopular. The video was egg, though, for that. Rubbish.
Another chroma key abomination.
Yeah, cheap, because it's so cheap to put them together like that. So that's why
it is.
Pumping
absolutely, yeah. In at number 32 is "Primal Scream" by Mötley Crüe.
I didn't quite know what to make of this. You?
No, it sounded interchangeable with Skid Row at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Very dibby-dabby, that song. And the video was mostly blurry. I couldn't quite figure what was going on.
No. It says that it's uncensored, the video as well. I don't know.
What they censored from it. But maybe we must never know.
No, it's best we don't. In at number 37 is "Can't Give You More" by Status Quo.
One hears such sounds and what can one say but status quo. Sounds like status quo.
I could say something else. I won't, but I won't. Yeah, well, it does sound like status quo.
Yeah, be honest about how you feel about the quo. You've never been a fan, have you?
I've never been a fan of status quo, no.
And this sounds exactly like everything else they've ever done, and they ever will do, which just sounds like quo.
Yeah, it does. And at number 39 is Jet City Woman by Queensrÿche.
Oh, moody, this, wasn't it?
It's just, which is weird. Who is she? Who is this Jet City Woman? Where is this Jet City?
What are you talking about? Yeah, stop hitting those weird notes. He keeps hitting really weird notes. Just when you think he's singing, he goes, hey, like, what's he doing?
In that first line, he goes, What are you doing?
Very strange.
It's like he's trod on a Lego brick in the recording studio.
That's exactly how it happened, and that you've made the connection. Black and white for mood, of course, and lots of hair in there, wasn't there? Different descriptions.
Yeah, and live. It's live in it, so lots of pained guitar faces.
Pain face, yeah.
Yeah, and at number 40 is "Everybody's Free to Feel Good" by Rosala.
Yeah,
this one.
You almost can't say it. You almost can't say the title without saying it in the way. Everybody's free. Everyone. You heard it everywhere. Good. It was ubiquitous. It was like tap water at a certain point.
Mm-hmm. This was bloody everywhere. Yeah,
it was. You couldn't escape it. And you worked in a really seedy pub at the time, and you'd heard that a lot.
Luckily I worked down the other end where I just got to hear "The Winds Have Changed" by Scorpions a lot.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah, I can't. It's absolutely. It's like God giveth his one hand, taketh away with the other. In at number 43 is "Sleep Alone" by The Wonder Stuff.
Creative enough video, I guess.
It reminded me of Cure videos.
Yeah, very, actually. You're right about that. I don't like the Wonder Stuff's twee diddly folksy sentimenty stuff, but the video is very Cure-esque. You're right about that. It's a good observation, actually.
Yeah, it's just, It's music for people with dogs on strings. Although we'll get another one that's even more for dogs on strings.
It really is, that one, yeah.
In a little bit. 8th of September, and at number 20 is I Want to Be Adored by the Stone Roses.
Are you a big fan of this, by the look of it?
I love this song. I absolutely love it. That bass line is so good. The guitar is great. This is just showing all the other shit Manchester up for the arse that it mostly is. It's like, this is so much better. It's so much better, but...
Well, sounds the same to me, but...
Yeah, there's just a quality to sort of just the rhythm section of the guitar, and it's just so much more interesting.
Good musicians in the Roses, I'll give them that. But it's clever that they filmed it on Venus as well, which is always nice to film interplanetary.
Absolutely,
nice. But it's not my cup of tea. But they are excellent musicians in the Stone Roses. I will give them that. I don't like his little standing on dance. What is that he does? It's like I guess it's the Stone Roses dance, isn't it? He developed that. Yeah, it's the Ian Brown waddle. Yeah, like a swagger, isn't he? So he stands there and does like a swagger. I don't know. It's weird that he does it on the spot. It's like an on-the-spot swagger.
He's on a treadmill. There's loads of treadmills on Venus.
He's just got treadmills on his shoes only. Just shoe treadmills. Treadmill shoes. It's got shoe treadmills.
They're the opposite to roller skates.
Exactly. You can't go anywhere on them. They just make you feel like you're going forward when you're not.
Make the world go around. Anyway, number 23 is More to Life by Cliff Richard.
He's alive and well. Thank you.
He is. I was quite shocked. He's got a gold shirt on. Got a gold shirt on in this, and I thought surely Jesus would have thrown him out the temples.
Yeah. Yes, he was a filthy idolater at this point, wasn't he? Wearing gold like that.
Absolutely. He's just showing off his wealth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
pompous and pious. No way to go through life, Cliff.
No. Loads of fist pumping, double fist pumping in this video as well.
And his teeth are unnervingly straight across the bottom line. It's like you could get a spirit level on them.
He has.
Yeah, and he's mono-toothed. He's also mono-toothed as well.
It's just one big tooth.
It is.
He's like,
no gaps.
No gaps. Can't whistle.
No, you can't.
And at number 25 is Can't Stop This Thing We Started by Bryan Adams.
Yeah. I guess by this point, people were probably wondering what Bryan Adams actually sounded like, because all I'd heard was Everything I Do It For You. But it's a very boring, safe track from them. It's not terrible, and it's all right. It's just Bryan Adams. The video annoyed me, though, because there's lots of health and safety violations. People throwing drums at people and guitars being exploding and stuff. And it's just, they're all, it's all right. You guys, be on that stage and just have fun and just mess about, and we'll film it, and that'll be... You look like idiots. And especially when they start the song and all their feet are tapping. They're middle-aged when they do that.
Yep.
No, so
he's a rough, tough Canadian, though. Cares not for your health and safety laws.
True. Well, this is it. I mean, the guy he was a lumberjack, wasn't he, for years? So he can chop down trees with guitars.
Yeah, and he's okay. Plodding song, though. Plodding. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've never liked this. Yeah, I mean, it's not like his classics, Run to You and
the recording, 69
and stuff like that.
The recording engineer was sat there going, "I wish we could stop this thing we'd started because it's bloody endless. It just shut up."
It did seem to go on forever. This song, doesn't it?
It does.
It's weird. It's far longer than it needs to be.
6 minutes long, I think. It just went on forever.
It's far too. It doesn't. Yeah, stop it. Anyway, in at number 28 is Such a Feeling by Bizarre Inc.
Yes, another one that got played all the damn time, of course. Such a good feeling, that's where I want to be. Yeah,
I didn't really know this sort of thing. The opening part is actually okay until the shitty house piano turned up. And then I was like, no, turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, not great, is it? Oh, no, actually, yeah, it's just, no, it's all right, but no. Someone's cousin did the video, didn't they? It wasn't very good.
Yeah. And at number 34 is Such a Good Feeling, 1991 re-release by Brothers in Rhythm.
Yeah, I think that was the one I was thinking of, actually. Not the Such a Feeling, Bizarre Inc. I was thinking of Such a Good Feeling, but I got mixed up because they sound exactly, well, they're not sound the same, they're basically the same title.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the one that's Such a Good Feeling. That's the progenitor for what became the Love Groove Dance Party soundscape on Radio 1 with DJs like Danny Ramplin. That was kind of that direction of house and garage, really. I guess you'd call that, and sort of dance, house soul. I don't know what the genre that is. It's a bit of a mishmash in it, but that sound was developed into very popular on Radio 1, of course, and that was another song that got played everywhere.
Ass was my one red review.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't like that. It's really not up your street, that one. It's quite a good one of those, but not of its time.
Not for me.
No.
In at number 36 is Dominator by Human Resource.
I'm the one and only Dominator. Another one from Rave to Chart. Extensive use of the Hoover sound in this, though.
Oh, load, yeah. Good Lord.
Yeah,
Someone's
the Hoover sound
cleaning the house.
No, that's a bad version of the Hoover sound. I might actually put one in. But it was that sound, and there's an entire wiki page devoted to that sound. That sound actually single-handedly almost destroyed UK hard house, if you know that. It did.
No, I don't know that.
Yes, it did, because they could not, as much as UK hard house is one of my favourite dance genres, it's brilliant. Everything about UK hard house circa 1996, maybe really, to about 1999 was brilliant. And then it got taken over a little bit by Tidy Tracks, and I like some Tidy Track stuff, but there was a few people that got kind of addicted to having this Hoover sound in almost everything they did. And it just became the sound of hard house in the UK. And so in clubs like Sunday Central, which is one of my favourite nightclubs ever, and also Sunday Central North and in Trade and places like that, this sound just took over, and Lisa Lashes and all the DJs around the time really got into it, and it just kind of, for me, kind of ruined UK hard house. So there you go.
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for that. Just another song to chew your face off to that I saw.
Yeah, very much, very much.
In at number 37 is Make It Tonight by Wet, Wet, Wet. They're back.
What
They're
happened?
Back, Graham.
Something has happened to Marty Pello.
Well, you say what's happened to him.
Well, it's a new version of him. He's got a floppy mop of hair. He's got so much fake tan that the lights in the video couldn't figure out what colour he was.
No.
He's gone like I don't know what, it's like a tan brown, isn't it? I don't know what it is.
Well, I thought I'd take a screen grab of it and put it into a C64 generator, thinking that brown would be easy for the C64, but not even the C64 can handle it. It just turned it red.
It just made him red.
It can't understand this bright shade of brown.
I mean, the cameras can't accurately present his skin tone, and oddly, his lips and his tongue have become the same colour. What's happened to him? Did he choke on a what's it or something? Did one of them not go down? His neck looks shorter as well. Now, I'm not even convinced that's Marty Pello, to be honest.
I think he's probably died, and they've brought in
they've got his brother,
brought a doppelganger.
Yeah, Johnny Pello,
Farty Pello.
Exactly, Farty Pello here. As his teeth have vanished, he's got no teeth.
Well, it's because he's farting all the time, and he's just chewed him off.
It's a really crap song as well, and a dodgy video. But that, my gosh, I don't know what look he was going for, but I don't know. But creosoted and turned into a Greek wasn't my idea. He looks a bit like my old Greek roommate when I was at uni, a bit like Demetrius, the Greek guy. He looks a bit like him. Yeah. He actually had teeth.
He just saw the Ron Seal advert. That's the shade for me.
Yeah, creosote. He has been creosoted, and you can see, look, just under his collar, there's his actual color there.
Yeah, it's terrible makeup. It's
really bad, and he's doing a kind of seductive look, and it's really horrible. So I can't even. I'm moving that away from my view now. I can't take it anymore.
No, it's not good. Number 38 is Bridge Over Troubled Water featuring Hannah and Her Sisters by PJB.
Was this a charity record for some reason?
I don't know. If this was a charity record, I reckon they'd end up owing money.
Yeah, it was
this is awful.
So it's bad. I mean, Bridge Over Troubled Waters is a really lovely song, but not like this.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Love Bridge Over Troubled Waters. But this, not this.
Houseified, and housifying tracks became a thing. So this is the beginning of a thing. But I thought if it was maybe for charity, maybe you get away with it, but I don't know. PJB, isn't that peanut butter and something? I don't know.
It's peanut jelly and butter.
Yeah,
it doesn't quite work.
The three things you don't want to blend.
Would you want to put your peanut jelly in my butter?
Ew.
No, I wouldn't.
No, I don't, and I never will. Get out of my house and take your peanut butter with you.
Take your butter.
I don't want it, and I never did.
Away with you. That's not Anchor.
And jelly butter isn't a thing, and no matter how you try and make it one, it will never mix.
Come and taste my jelly butter.
Can you imagine what flavour's this jelly? Is it strawberry? Butter. Oh.
We've got all the flavours.
What, like butterscotch? No, actual butter. Oh.
Margarine.
Garlic butter flavour. Oh.
Lard.
I think I'd rather that. This is neutral.
Lard jelly. Yeah. Jelly lard.
Jelly lad. Get your jelly lad. I bet you the Scottish fans of that band Runrig, I bet they eat that. That's jelly the sort of thing. Scottish people mix food types together and they just make it work no matter what. They invented Scotch eggs, for goodness sake.
They do, but they also don't. I was watching Come Dine With Me, an old episode of Come Dine With Me the other day. There's this Scottish guy on it, and he deep fried lasagna.
It would work, though, wouldn't it? It did work.
No, it didn't. None of the people who are eating his meal could eat it.
Yeah, well, see, that's not a traditional Scottish dish that you deep fried. You've got to be Scottish all the way through,
like a Mars bar.
Exactly, and you've got to use tartan lard. Remember, good old tartan lard.
Tartan lard.
Yeah, that's the manufacturer, not the colour. But it does come in a tartan wrapper, which is cool.
That's good. Okay. Anyway, this song's shit.
It is.
And at number 40 is Wild Hearted Son by The Cult.
There's a cultural appropriation going on, and I'm not sure why in that.
Well, we'll discuss it a bit more when we get to the album a bit further down.
Yeah, so there's some trouble there. But the mini vampires are back, looking more vampiric than ever. Lots of purple in that. Purple is the colour of the vampire, isn't it? I came to realise.
It is, yeah.
And it's sounds like The Cult 101, The Cult by the Numbers. Nothing crazy there. But he is smaller. His pallor was ghastly, which is always a good thing for a. And that's how you compliment a vampire, isn't it? You say, your pallor looks ghastly. Well, don't you?
I'm surprised the camera could pick him up when I think about it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because of course they don't have a reflection, do they? And they don't.
No.
I don't know. Cameras don't take their picture. Actually, you raise a point. Actually, how did they do it?
Interesting. Very clever. Yeah. Maybe he was drawn every frame.
Yeah, there must have been some clearness around it. Because of course, if they open the curtains, that's it. Gone. Just the woof sound, and he's done.
Yeah, true. In at number 43, "Slave to the Grind" by Skid Row.
It is a terrible song. It's just totally too late. It's just Skid Row's story in it.
His hair is too well conditioned for me to believe his anger.
Yeah, he's acting in this, isn't he? In that jail cell, trying to be all edgy.
Too nice.
Yeah, he does.
You've got to look. We'll come to the next song. That's how you do anger. Let's just move on to the next song.
Yeah,
because number 49 is "His Head Like a Hole" by Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah. Oh my goodness me! Yeah, talk about one of the greatest industrial synth tracks, metal tracks, whatever you want brand you want to call it, or industrial, I guess, really, of all time. This such a welcome breath of fresh air at the time. Stupendously brilliant debut album that's from.
Yes,
it's just ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous how good that album is and how great that track is. It's ridiculous. Yeah. This is one guy, for goodness sake, one guy. He did everything. He mixed it, performed it, sang it, wrote it, produced it. He did everything. I know he had some help here and there, but my gosh. And he had a vision, and that vision was what came out. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts. There was no compromise. He did not compromise a damn thing, and I totally admire that. It's such a brilliant track off a brilliant album. It's genuinely ace. It really is good. I can't praise it highly enough.
Yeah, I remember Brown Sauce introducing me to this, and he was like, "Oh, you got to listen to this." I was like, "Oh, and this is very good." And just got a copy of the album. Just loved it ever since. It's one of my favourite sort of industrial albums to this day.
Yeah,
what an album.
Very good.
But just on a side note, it kind of got me thinking, because I was looking at this, and it was the video and stuff is very of its time, lots of dreadlocks and shouting and anger and on stage and things like that. I get that. And it reminded me of the new metal bands that came about a decade later. Why I was never really buying into them. I never really got on with them.
Such as?
All your sort of Korn and System of a Down, Limp Bizkit, all this the new metal stuff that came out. All the angry stuff came out of America at that point. Sort of on the back, sort of replaced Britpop and kind of was the next big sort of movement, wasn't it, really? And I never got on with it. And it's because I was kind of like this kind of thing, the bands around at this time, Ministries, KMFDMs, Nine Inch Nails, all those kind of things that we were listening to, just had done it for me. They'd already done this kind of angry vitriol and creating. Yeah. It was more creative and more interesting. Maybe it was just me, though. Maybe it's because I was 10 years older as well.
I think there's something to that. I like the new bit. I do like some of the new metal bands as well. But I always find that this particular period of industrial, because it sort of splits into two strands at this point, really. There's your Nine Inch Nails, your Ministries, and your kind of more aggressive, I guess, sample core metal guitars and bits of that. Ministry, Nine Inch Nails. And then you've got your Front 242s and your more synth, your Nights Rebs, tragic passing of writer, creator of Nights Rebs today as well. Yeah. Very sad. But so they sort of went in those kind of directions a little bit. But I really liked this particular brand of industrial. And in fact, I would argue, I agree with you. I don't think really, in some ways, Nine Inch Nails progressed it in a very different way. And they actually come out with one of the greatest industrial albums ever, hands down. I mean, this is a great one, don't get me wrong, that this is from. Pretty Hate Machine. But the Downward Spiral is just astonishing at every level. Yeah. It's just like a whole different league of album. But they just set the benchmark for where this kind of thing should be. Them and kind of bands like Ministry, Frontline Assembly, Skinny Puppy, to a degree. They were just in that zone and doing really, really interesting stuff. And exactly the word you used, interesting, is exactly right for them. And I've got to agree with you. It's probably in reality a little bit of our old college mate Lee Byatt that put me onto some of this stuff. A lot of it was Brown Sauce that put me onto it. And I became a real advocate and deeply into industrial stuff on the back of that for a long time, and I still like it to this day. So, but this track in particular, even now, I listen to it and I think, It reminds me of when you hear certain tracks. This one, another one that always gets me like that is Faith No More's Epic. I hear them and I just think those are just brilliant pieces of music and composition. They're just ace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a few others like that, but those spring to mind just right this second. But Nine Inch Nails and Head Like a Hole, goodness me, only really topped for me by some of the later stuff, but fabulous. Go listen to it again for good measure.
Yes, you should. In at 15th September, in at number 7 is Love to Hate You by Erasure.
I love to hate you. I love to hate you. I love to hate you. Yeah.
Good song. Good song.
Yeah, it's a good song. Not bad. Bit of a return to form for them, wasn't it? Cheekily borrows from I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor quite a bit, but okay, we'll let him get away with it. He's a bit of a synth genius, isn't he, the guy in there?
Yeah, so. Vince Clarke, yeah. It is a return to form after they've had quite a few lackluster releases we've had, haven't we, from Erasure? Yeah. It's not really been a...
But this one feels more like Erasure. It's back to kind of the, it's got that we'll be together again kind of vibe. And the concert footage and where he's flying around and all that, it's very similar to some of their early videos as well. It's a bit of a return to form. It's good.
And it's got some Andy Bell hip swinging in it as well.
He's going for it, isn't he? And he's dressed in 100% marshmallow as well, which is clever.
Yeah, I love that. In at number 8 is Don't Cry by Guns N' Roses.
It is. Don't you cry tonight.
I love this song. Absolutely.
It's a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, actually.
I don't agree with guilty pleasure, but I know what you mean, because you shouldn't but when it gets going, the pomp and the bombast of this is just off the charts. It's just stupid. They're singing it. Have you also noticed in the video how he's got a mini Axel singing with him?
Yeah,
Who is he? Who was he? Where did he come from? Mini Axel.
He's Maxel. That's his little Maxel.
He's got a little Maxel. It's like mini me. It's like mini Axel. Just singing away with
Maxel.
him.
His little. Oh, come on, Maxel. Hiya.
Don't you cry.
Don't you cry tonight.
That's just.
Come on, Maxel. You're brilliant. You are.
I love you, Maxel. Oh. Thanks, Axel.
You could be mine. You're right. You are mine, Maxel. Come on, get in the back of the car. Get in your car seat. Come on.
Little Maxel. But yeah, it just gets me, this song.
I think we may have ruined it for ourselves already now.
It's just there. He only pops up in a couple of shots and he's just there singing along. Little Maxel.
Oh dear.
But let's not forget the brilliant guitar solo from Slash.
It's just, that in November Rain, his solos are just so epic, they're ridiculous, but I love them. They're brilliant, and it's particularly good musicianship on his part, I have to say. Fantastic stuff. Yeah. It's a great track. It is what it is. It's just, and it's also unusual for them because there aren't a lot of tracks like that on the first album, is there, on Appetite for Destruction? So
no, they've certainly dialed up the
dialed up the ballady stuff, and the
piano and stuff.
And obviously they had a bit more money to spend on the videos. My gosh, but
yeah,
it's a great track, all fairness, and little Maxwell in there doing his bit. It all helps. It all helps.
Yeah, it's really weird in the middle of it as well when those two women are having a fight and they're all just jeering them on.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, no expense spared for that video. Just have what you want, Maxwell. No. Have what you want, Maxwell. Get in there.
Hey, stop fighting! It's not worth it. Why don't you fight over me?
It's not worth it.
I'm not little Maxwell in every
hands. Way. Make friends. Never break friends.
Come on, Maxwell. Come on.
I said get in your car seat.
I think you've been up a bit too long. You're getting a bit flustered. You need a bit of a sleep.
You've had too much juice.
Absolutely. Time to have your bear snacks. Oh, thanks, Axel.
I think Guns N' Roses have been ruined for me forever.
Oh, well, if let's ruin these. We've already ruined these. In at number 16 is Something Got Me Started by Simply Bred.
There's something got me started. Give it all up for you. I'll give it all up for you. Yes, I'll give it all up for you. Yes, I'll give it all up for you. Yeah, he does give it all up for you, doesn't he? Prepare your pants, Adrian. Prepare your pants. Ooh. The old bread bin lover is back, and he's now in extra sexy format, isn't he? All wiggly. We will never understand why so many women were attracted to him and his bread fingers. Maybe that explains it. Maybe it's best left unresolved. Never liked or disliked this song. I have to say it's catchy though, like chlamydia. or cold sores. But listen to this and you will need an ointment or a salve.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
This song makes me itch. It's like 1,000 middle-aged mums all came at once and were silenced.
That is so gross. That's the grossest sentence you've ever written, I think. It could only have been topped if you, instead of putting came, you put cummed. Just as a deliberate misspelling, like some, like that's how you would write in a book's context, in that sort of style. True. Like 1,000 middle-aged mums cummed at the same time. It's like, oh God, that's so. These concerts, the mop guy was like, oh God, I need a new. This Violeta's not cutting it. It's literally disintegrating.
It's like scenes from Titanic at certain points when they're running down corridors.
Can you imagine the amount of knickers that got thrown at that guy? Goodness me.
The amount of moisture in there.
The amount of yeast. I mean, that's this yeast infection's been thrown around that room.
He makes so much bread afterwards. Amazing.
The room just proves itself. And that is gross also. We need to move on because it's getting bread related and gross.
It is. Number 19 is
the next album, strangely enough.
Number 19 is Cream, ironically, by Prince and the New Power Generation.
See, I really like the song. You don't like it, do you?
No, I don't like Prince. So.
No. It's just another great expensive video. It takes ages to get the song, but I don't know. Commercial currency is what Prince had at this time, a bit like Axl did, and maybe even Maxwell. All before he was enslaved, of course. This is a great track, but there's a really brilliant live version of this, which is on YouTube. I'll post a link. It's where he sings it unplugged, and it shows you in that what an incredible guitarist he really is. So go and watch it just for that. Go and watch it for that, because it's mind blowing that he can play and sing and play like that.
Yeah, he's technically amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Virtuoso. The guy's a virtuoso, and he had a mini Prince, didn't he? He had his own little mints.
We've got to have the adventures of Maxwell and Mince.
Well, he was already quite small, wasn't he? Prince. Mince was tiny, like really tiny.
Hey, Mint, you're even tinier than me. Hello, Maxwell.
Do I tell you my cream? You all right? Thanks.
You're all right. Don't cry.
Don't cry for me. No, don't.
Number 21 is Trust by Ned's Atomic Dustbin.
It suddenly occurred to me that one of my old college friends looked exactly like the people who were in that, and then made me realise that's why. Because he was well into that band. Not my thing at all, but it was all right for what it was, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay. It's very Ned's Atomic Dustbin, this. In at number 28 is The One I Love, 1991, re-release, I believe, by R.E.M.
It is by R.E.M., yes. I'm not a fan of this Wittering Guff, but it was popular, though. Yeah,
I like this one. It's one of my favourites, I think. I do. There's a nice sentiment. Well, not particularly nice sentiment to this, but it's good lyrically. And
good
nice
video.
Nice tune, yeah. And at number 31 is the Nutbush City Limits 90s version by Tina Turner.
An abomination.
Back, Jesus, back.
back, holy man. Back, shaman.
This is awful.
Stop housing up tracks. It was a housed up track that didn't need it. And she gets into it. Tina, she was into it. Little tiny Turner, wasn't it? She's got a little mini one as well.
Oh, God, this has to stop. We can't have many versions of all of them. Tiny Tina. Nina.
But anyway, Tina Turner, not Tiny Tina, which is very difficult to say. She was into this. I don't know why. She must have been convinced somehow with a large paycheck and a nice Chianti or something. I don't know. But either way, this was a bloody travesty. It was awful. Awful.
No, but as ever, any mention of Nutbush City Limits does lead us to the amazing Limits show, Nutbush City Limits Dance Off. The best.
Simply the best.
It's so funny.
It's just brilliant.
We'll post a link to it in the show notes. If you do one thing this week, click on that link or go to YouTube and just search for Limits show, Nutbush City Limits.
Every time I watch it cracks me up. I see something different. And this time I really appreciate the quality of the visual effects in that, because they're actually pretty good. The way it's mad.
It's when he starts dancing with the winner at the end, doing his little clappy dance.
Everything about that it proves that Limmy, like him, I love him, I think is an absolute comedy genius. A very what's the word? I don't think he's properly appreciated in our time for the genius that he is.
No, I don't.
For that and for the where he cracks that bad joke, which is one of my favourite sketches of all time. I want to take a little time. The back on top, the back on top.
Back on top.
Little time to think it. Hoo. It's just brilliant. Go and watch that. I might post that video as well, just so you can see.
Yeah, we should do. In at number 38 is Try by Bros.
Try. What register is he singing that in? High one. Terence Trent D'Arby had been merged, hadn't he, with Matt Goss? And this is what happened. This throaty, tonally pitched in the register of Michael Jackson song came out of them.
Yeah, that bridge is a huge Michael Jackson ripoff, isn't it?
Oh, completely, yeah. I mean, I don't get what they're really trying to do.
No. The lyrics, there's a line of the lyrics saying, we've got to stop it now, and I think this was a plea to the record company.
Yeah, I think it probably was. I mean, they were probably sick of being Bros by this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're actually brothers, but I mean, they're probably sick of that name.
Yeah. Number 50, there'd be the Super Bros, wouldn't there? I don't know.
Super Bros, yeah. Plus,
Super Goss Bros.
Grolsch was sick of sponsoring their stupid bottle cap shoe thing. They're like, we're not doing it anymore. Get lost, Bros. We don't need you.
No, yeah. In at number 51, Krusty's Gold. It's One Way by the Levelers.
Yeah, Gulliver's played this a lot, didn't it? Gulliver's Gold, this one. Yeah. Krusty Stinkfolk, wasn't it? With Dogs on Strings, I remember you saying.
Yeah. Catchy, crusty, twiddly dee of a song.
Yeah, they need a wash. That's what they need. Soap. There's only one way, and it's soap, I think you'll find.
Yeah. In at 22nd of September, re-released in Wind of Change again by the Scorpions. Can't be stopped. It should be stopped. Please make it stop.
Yeah, the winds have changed. It turns out they were a bit more blustery than they thought, and it blew them back. Now, bugger off.
Yeah.
Didn't want you back.
Go away. Stop whistling. In at number 24 is Jackie by Mark Almond.
A very housey-esque, dancey track from Mark Almond. Very off-brand for him with this.
I didn't think it was a bad song. It's just really full on, isn't it? It's just...
Yeah, totally. And the video was like, well, okay. Okay, it's that. It reminded me of that, weirdly, that Brian De Palma movie with the sort of where Freaky Goes to Hollywood's got a video in it in the middle. Reminded me of that body double, isn't it? Reminded me of that vibe anyway.
In at number 32, we have Live Your Life, Be Free by Belinda Carlisle. What a good song. Another good song. Massive catchy tune.
I never really rated this one. It's a bit wishy-washy for me.
It's the same, right? I was looking at
it. You said in a really pervy voice, and I do. Bloody hell, I do
like it. It's the same writers who did Heaven on Earth and all.
Yeah, it's not as good as them, I don't think. Just a bit namby-pamby. There's a bit hints of the Mirror Man by Human League in there as well, here and there. So.
Possibly, I'm not sure of that one, but I do like this. It's got a weird 60s vibe to it as well in the video, which seems to be the sort of style they've gone for with the album and 60s in a up. But no, I like this. It's got another good bridge and everything. Just a nice Belinda Carlisle song. Yeah. And at number 35 is No More Tears, Please. It's a Waste of Good Suffering by Ozzy Osbourne.
The opening reminded me of Faith No More, Epic.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because Faith No More covered War Pigs.
Actually, sorry, not Epic. I meant We Care a Lot, is it?
Yeah, I know the one you mean. But they covered, isn't War Pigs an Aussie song?
Yeah, it's one of them, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, but they covered that. But yes, this is certainly that sort of keyboard and bass sound. My issue with this song was I don't think the guitar fitted.
The extra loud guitar when they put it up to 11
loud, and heavy and off sort of chord sort of thing. It's like an off key. It's like it just didn't seem to fit.
No, I agree. I mean, it's Aussie, so it's got a little bit of something about it because it's Aussie, but Aussie went back when he was coherent as well. So
everything about this I really like. I really like the keyboards and the bass and everything, and the drumming and stuff. The singing, just didn't like the guitar. Do you think
the song was inspired by the Vosine shampoo? Or was it the baby shampoo? Isn't that one that's No More Tears formula?
I don't know. Maybe you got some maybe you got some shampoo in the eyes of little Mozzie.
Mozzie. He's that tiny. He's like the size of a little tiny Mozzie.
Oh, Ozzy, you've got soap in my eyes.
Help me. So anyway,
I don't know.
I'm never a big Ozzy fan. He's all right. It's a bit like Bark at the Moon. I'm not that big a fan of Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
He's a fun person, and his music history is very crazy, but I don't think it's a great thing. It's one of his finer periods as far as I think his fans are concerned. I don't know, but whatever.
Whatever, indeed. Number 37 is Internal Exile. God damn, these titles by Fish, of course. It had to be by Fish with a title like that. What is Internal Exile?
I don't know what happened to him. What the hell happened to Fish?
He went back to his roots, shall we say, with this song. I
mean, goodness me, this is the most Scottish song I think we've ever had. My eyesight went tartan after watching that. I mean, this song sounds like the opening title music for a kids' show called Jimmy the Brave, where Jimmy was a kid who had magical bagpipes and went on adventures.
They ate lots of shortbread.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Good old tartan, yeah. But it was just lots of diddly hey diddly 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 diddly. It was just a Scottish version.
Yeah, it was very, very Scottish. But, not a bad thing, I suppose. He's proud of his town. That's a rare thing these days.
He really is proud of his town.
He really is. In at number 38, I Think I Love You by Voice of the Beehive.
A cover of the Partridge Family 1970 song. It's all right.
It's all right. Yeah. And I don't know why this is in. Maybe this is a re-release. Number 48, World in Union, Kiri Tikanawa.
Yeah, we've had it before. Kiri Tikanawa. Yeah.
29th September. In at number 22 is The Best of You by Kenny Thomas.
Who is Kenny Thomas? I hear you say.
Who? Go on. Who is he? Tell me, Graham.
He was born on September the 12th, 1968 in Islington. He's an English soul singer who had a successful solo career in the 1990s with 8 UK 40 singles and 2 UK top 10 albums.
I've never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Never heard of him. I thought he just turned up at someone's dance studio and just set up and started singing one just to annoy the dancers.
Did sound like it, didn't it? And his video had a lot of green in it. Yeah,
it did. In at number 30 is Always Look on the Bright Side of Life by Monty Python's Flying Circus.
I watched that recently, actually. A film, great film, Life of Brian, great film.
Very funny. You've noted here that you thought it was to do with Steve Wright. It's actually Simon Mayo by the looks of it.
Yeah, I knew it was a radio thing. I just couldn't remember which one. I thought Steve Wright seemed like the likely compass needle point.
Yeah, the song became particularly popular in the early 90s, retained a cult status, and BBC radio DJ Simon Mayo, whose breakfast show had a track record of reviving old novelty songs, began playing the original version on his show, which led to this reissue 23rd of September. When Graham Chapman died on the 4th of October 1989, the 5 remaining Pythons, as well as Chapman's close friends and family, came together as a public service to sing this song as part of the eulogy. In 2005, which is this, a survey by Music Choice showed that it was the 3rd most popular song Britons would like to have played at their funeral. By 2014, it was the most popular.
Crazy. I thought Another One Bites the Dust would have been in that list.
It probably is. It quite possibly is. But Always Look on the Bright Side of Life has become the most popular song. It was back in 2014.
Of course, and as we all know, Another One Bites the Dust, if you play it backwards, is I Like to Smoke Marijuana. Of course, remember famously that crazy guy that played records backwards.
Yeah, that took a turn. Yeah.
He said, I like to smoke a banana, essentially, which was like, okay, it's not illegal, but it's damn weird.
Yeah, you do what you do, you, mate. You do you.
Yeah, you do you. You do you.
In at number 34 is Dry Land by Marillion.
It's a glove slap, wasn't it, to their old singer, this?
Yeah, Fish.
Yeah. Nothing says we don't need Fish in the band anymore, releasing a single called Dry Land, does it? It's a message.
Yeah, I didn't see that at first, but yes, it is. But why is he wet in the video?
And he's so wet. He's so stupidly damp. He's been dampened beyond all reality.
I don't understand.
It's a song called Dry Land.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. It's like full of shots of Iceland by the looks of it.
Yeah, this should be called Iceland, not Dry Land. Someone got the title of that wrong on there. I had to stick with it.
Number 36 is Do Do Do. Get ready for this. Do Do Do.
Yeah, we knew it was coming. It was everywhere at the time. An earworm of sorts, and of course, very popular in school discos. Really, it's where it's kind of its audience. Really, it was a bit kiddie dance pop, wasn't it? Harmless enough, and because we all liked Anita Dells, whatever her name was.
Yeah, she was very nice. She was a very nice lady.
She was lovely, and she baked a mean cake.
Yeah, she was nice when she was the dinner lady at our school.
She was. Yeah.
Number 37 is Too Many Walls by Kathy Dennis.
Thinky pop, but forgettable, isn't it? Yeah, written for Madonna, I think, that originally, by the sound of it. Okay. Yeah, I don't think it was. It just sounded like it was. But yeah,
I could see that.
Meh. Yeah.
And finally, number 38, Love's a Loaded Gun by Alice Cooper.
Oh, the cheese was so strong.
It's dripping off this.
There's Mr. Cooper gruffing his way through another song. And a very dubious video, really. Never done much for women's lib, has he, Mr. Cooper, all said and done?
No, not really.
And the lyrics for the song are shit. I will post the link to the lyrics. I'm not reading them out because I can't be asked, but they are shit. Trust me on that.
Yeah. Big blue filter of this, though. I've seen that a few times this month. Big blue filter.
The colorization's gone a bit wild, isn't it, in these last few?
Yeah. It seems to be the trend at the moment, but it's a rubbish song, though.
Yeah, arse.
Rubbish. Quickly go through the albums. 1st of September. In at number 7 was Leisure by Blur.
Oh, the debut finally arrives.
Yeah, the debut album draws influences from Manchester and shoegaze styles. Yeah, it's very much so.
Never liked that album.
The next album's better. Modern Life is rubbish.
Yeah.
In at number 17, Touched by Jesus by All About Eve. Tim Brickenow had left and they didn't sound the same and they weren't as good.
Yeah.
Simple as.
No simpler. That's enough said, I think.
Yeah. Number 18 is Martika's Kitchen by Martika.
Yeah, a real weird, complex album of rubbish. So.
Okay, take your word for that. Number 23 is A Life with Brian by Flowered Up.
Strange thing, that. I found a weird sort of documentary thing about the fact they remade it for 2024 or something.
Yeah.
Really odd collection of sounds in the pub recordings and strangeness.
Yeah. 8th of September, straight to number 1, The Honk himself from Time to Time, the singles collection by Paul Young.
Great, all 3 of them. Good.
Yeah, true. Followed by, in at number 3, Guaranteed by Level 42. The Honk and the Glonk, almost together.
Well, they have to be, don't they? One has to follow another. Goodness me, is that their 9th studio album? Goodness.
9th.
Wow.
I know. His thumb must be so massive by this point. It can barely fit through doors.
Massive and powerful, in other words. Some people have been used to describe that. Massive and powerful.
Yeah. Number 8, Of the Heart of the Soul and of the Cross by PM Dawn.
Yeah, nothing's got like you. I'm just a human. Yeah, the new Formantics have arrived.
The Utopian Experience is the debut album by American hip-hop group PM Dawn.
Yeah, it was recorded in the BG Studios. Yeah.
Of course it was.
Makes sense.
You can hear the teeth gleam on every note.
Okay.
And at number 10 is Roll the Bones by Rush.
Yeah, I quite like that album, actually, although there's a couple of things that make me go, "Oi" on it. But
the back half of it. So this is the 14th studio album at this point. Bass and drum parts on this were recorded in 4 days and the guitars in 8.
Crikey Bob.
That's pretty fast, isn't it? Geddy Lee was amazed at how Neil Peart had learned his parts for an entire song prior to recording it, and that 9 times out of 10 took only one pass for him to nail it.
Why was he amazed at that? The guy was a gifted savant drummer.
Yeah, true. So we went to see them on tour for this, didn't we?
We did, yes.
First time I saw them, I think we seem to remember us thoroughly enjoying it.
It was really good, They were spotted by Primus, as I recall.
Yeah, they were, yeah. I think that got you into Primus, didn't it, seeing them live?
Yeah, for a while, and then I realised that Primus are really weird.
Yeah, a bit too weird. This was the second album co-produced with Rupert Hine, following on from Presto. Got a similar sound to that. There's some better tracks on this, though. Dreamline and Bravado, they're a great opening pair of tracks.
Yeah, they are. Really good.
It's the weakest, but this is part of their weakest period, Rush's weakest period of albums, sort of studio albums. You got Counterparts and Test for Echo coming after this. And the back half of this album is not, I listened to it again today, and it doesn't stand up. It's also got that bloody rap on Roll the Bones.
Yeah, is it Where's My Thing is on that? That's quite a good.
Where's
track.
My Thing? The first half of this album is good. Second half is where it loses it. Neurotica, Ghost of a Chance.
Yeah, there's some good lyrics in those songs, though. I mean,
there are always good lyrics from Per. They're just a bit weak. The songs are just a bit weak. That's the thing. The production on them is not a bit weak, and it'll get a bit better with Counterparts. They're a bit stronger, a bit thicker.
Yeah, it's a little bit of leaning into cheesy, isn't there, in some of the tracks, with the sort of military-sounding drums on that one of the tracks. With We Burn Out, it's all it's a bit overproduced.
Heresy, I think.
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of overproduction in the album. I think,
yeah. It's not one of the best, but it's just still some cracking
enjoyable.
Tracks on it.
And like you said, the first 2 tracks are really good. I mean, good openers.
Yeah. And at number 15 is Time Space, the best of Stevie Nicks.
Wow. Okay.
Stevie
probably
Nicks.
Good. Yeah.
Probably Stevie Nicks. Yeah. Number 20 is Stranger in This Town by Richie Sambora.
Yeah, it's all right, that album, but I can't. He dressed as a fucking jacket potato and ruined himself.
But what's the album
I can't
like?
forgive him. It's all right.
I've never heard it.
It's quite good because it's Richie Sambora and he's quite a good singer and a really talented guitarist. It sounds a bit like a Bon Jovi album, really, if I'm honest.
Right.
But it is pretty good and maybe not quite as heavy in places. It's good solos, but he's dressed as a jacket potato, so all bets are off.
Yeah. And at number 23 is Tin Machine 2 by Tin Machine.
Probably good. Maybe not. I don't know.
Who knows? It's usual people on this. They had a cover. It's a Greek statue. It's a naked man, and it's sort of 4 times like a triptograph, sort of 4 times quadrigraph, I guess, whatever. And then so that was the British cover showing the statue's genitals, but they were airbrushed out for the American cover.
Oh, they've removed the genitals. 80s genitals. 80s genitals. 80s genitals.
They removed his genitals.
Genitals.
Yes.
I try to explain what that is. I can't. Just you have to just go with that. We know that means.
Yeah,
but yes, weird. It looks weirder with knobs, doesn't it? It needs them. It needs genitals.
Yeah, that's how they were. That's the statue. Airbrushing them out just looks like they've got massive pubic thatches.
Pubic thatch. You've been reading Dean Counts again, haven't
you? Yeah, exactly. But they do look thatchy. They look massive. They look like hedgerows.
And he revealed her pubic thatch.
Pubic thatch. Quality writing.
Yeah.
In at number 27 is Catfish Rising.
We know that Bram's also be laughing right now. Definitely.
He will be laughing. Yeah, he'll be pulling that book out of his collection and rereading it.
And thumbing it.
That well-thumbed page.
Yes.
Number 27 is Catfish Rising by Jethro Tull.
Wow.
18th studio album.
18 albums. I've never been a big fan of the Tull. I don't really know much about them, though.
No,
probably good actually, but not something I've ever really listened to.
No. Number 32 is Just for a Day, Slow Dive. That was their debut studio album.
What are they? Genre are they?
Sort of a bit shoegazy, I think.
They sound. I was going to say they sound like a shoegazy type deal.
English indie shoegazy type thing, I think.
Yeah, sounds like it.
15th September, we mentioned number 1 on Every Street by Dire Straits, the 6th and final studio album.
Yeah, they were trying to follow up Brothers in Arms, didn't they? And unsuccessfully, I fear.
Yeah, it took 6 years, didn't it? Brothers in Arms was 85, wasn't it?
It took 6 years. What was he doing? I thought he noodled. He was slow noodling. He was sloodling.
He's very slow noodling. Sloodling.
Sloodling. He was yodeling and sloodling.
Number 3 is Mr. Lucky by John Lee Hooker.
Okay.
This album features everyone.
Yeah, he's a big blues legend, isn't he? So
yeah, so he just got everyone on.
And I remember him from the Blues Brothers, of course. He's in that, isn't he?
Yeah. Number 5 is Hymns to the Silence by Van Morrison. His 21st studio album.
Goodness me. That's Morrison's van lasting that long. It's quite crazy, isn't it?
It's his first studio double album. So it's like 2 albums. It's 21st and 22nd album.
That's a lot of album, isn't it?
Yeah, too much album.
Yeah.
At number 29 is 101 Damnations by Carter the Unstoppable Sex Machine.
Your thing?
The debut studio. Yeah, I do like this. It's good. It's got Sheriff Fatman on it, so always quality.
There you go.
Number 31 is Ritual of Love by Karen White.
Yeah, big R&B. Yeah, so it meant it was not for me.
No, not for me either. 22nd of September, in at number 1 and number 2 is Use Your Illusion 2 and then 1.
Yeah, big albums really. The big album release took a while to come out as well, but there were big album release sequel to Appetite for Destruction, wasn't it? And of course, we'd already heard one track off, but I think 2 actually, which is the one off the Terminator 2. Yeah, You'll Be Mine. That's on Use Your Illusion 2, which maybe explains why that's maybe got higher than 1.
Probably, yeah.
Something to do with that. What's surprising here is, so this was the first album that that featured Matt Sorum. He was the drummer from The Cult previous to that, so with Vampire, which is odd, which is why he never plays with wooden drumsticks, if you know that. Plastic always, because of course, too much like a wooden stake, isn't it, for a vampire?
Throws them up in the air and miscatches it.
He's going to pierce his heart.
Into flames.
Yeah, exactly. But in all fairness, I used to actually own a pair of Matt Sorum drumsticks. They're actually slightly longer than regular drumsticks, but there you go. Anyway, that's by the by. So I think these are quite good albums, albeit that there's probably a lot of content and the best stuff's been cleverly spread across 2 albums. It has to be said.
I think there's one good album here.
Yeah, I think that's what I was kind of alluding at. Now, it didn't sell particularly well. This is the thing that people often forget about Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. They did okay eventually, but there was an expectation that these would be massive, massive hits. Like the same success as Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. They thought they were going to be that big. Bear in mind, that sold 40 million copies, right? Uh-huh. It got nowhere near that. I mean, it sold a lot, in the latterly in the millions, of course, and it went certified platinum, I think 7 times for Use Your Illusion 2. But I think reality is that they didn't sell as well as they anticipated. And a lot of people look to the reasons why. And there's a bit of an odd mixture of songs. There's more ballads on there than perhaps people were expecting, although I think they're very good. You Could Be Mine was a big hit, but there was a few nondescript songs on there that people just they're a bit forgettable. And I think you exactly and accurately say what they really had was enough content for 1 album. The second one
would have been amazing.
Yeah, and I don't quite know I think there's an element, dare I say this, of pretentiousness from Axl Rose that led them to release these 2 magnum opus albums, when in reality they probably should have just done the 1. So.
They were huffing on their own juice. far too much.
Yeah, I mean, they were massively popular after Appetite for Destruction. And rightly so, there's some amazing songs on there. But even that, a lot of these bands at the time forget that you're only really as good as the few tracks, because a lot of the other tracks are just kind of album fillers. And that's the time on a tradition of creating albums. If you ever listen to that Pop Collaborate and Listen podcast, which is a definite recommendation for mine and yours, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. They often say that they've reviewed so many albums now, it's ridiculous. Amazing what they've done. And a lot of the time they say that this album has got too many tracks, and there's a lot of tracks that are just in between fillers that don't really have any impact. They're not harmful, but they're not they're not doing anything bad. They're just filling time. And this has just been spread to 2 albums here. So there's some good tracks in there. In this, you've got things like Knocking on Heaven's Door is on there, I think, somewhere, isn't it? Or did that come later as a single? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Is Live and Let Die on it? Yeah?
Live and Let Die is on there. Yeah, I think that's on Use Your Illusion. I want to say 2. But yeah, it is. And they were literally saturating them. And then November Rain comes out. And of course, I mean, that is a classic video, and it's so epic. Yeah. Where he goes to the edge of a cliff and does his solo and all that. And,
the man jumps through a cake for no reason.
Yeah. And he got married officially. There was a big controversy about whether he actually got married. And at this time, they were courting a lot of press. But anyway, the long and the short of it is all that press, all that attention, all that brouhaha didn't help them sell a lot of albums at that time. They just did eventually, I think. So there you go.
Yeah. It's like... who's the other ones? Smashing Pumpkins, when they had the double album a few years for the first couple. You're like, it's too much. It's too much. You haven't got enough stuff here for a double album.
No, I mean, you could do it, later down the line, you end up like Prince, and where he released triple albums, and you end up with like Buckethead, where I think he releases an album every other day. So,
God, it's too much. It's too much. Number 8 is Don't Try This at Home by Billy Bragg. It had sexuality on it, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Billy Bragg particularly, but whatever.
Number 21 is Don't Get Weird on Me, Babe by Lloyd Cole.
Yeah, minus the commotions, and so no good. He was only ever good with the commotions.
Album. Yeah. There's a weird thing about this. Unlike the original release, which the British released, the American version of the album leads with the rock half and ends with the orchestral songs. Switched them round.
That's weird. Wonder why?
Don't know. Who knows? Don't know. Maybe the Americans wanted the rock stuff first, and we were a bit more. Give us the orchestral stuff, Lloyd. Come on.
They wanted more commotion and less coal.
Yeah. Number 23 is Progeny by The Shaman.
Basically an album entirely of remixes of Move Any Mountain. I think there's loads of them. If you look at the track listing, it's just Move Any Mountain, the so-and-so mix. I forget how many there was. They were laughed when I looked at it. I was like, goodness me. I think there's 19 remixes of one track on that.
Bloody hell. No wonder I couldn't find anything about it.
Aye. Oh, well. 3 vinyl. It's a 3 LP vinyl of this one track repeatedly.
God.
Yep.
What if Brown Sauce owns it?
Bound to have. It's got the Prelude to Paradise mix, the Alta Vista mix, the Rising High dub mix, the Rude edit, the Landslide edit. It's just Move Any Mountain.
Okay.
I can move any mountain.
There's so much of that I can take.
Yeah, well, evidently you could not take 3 albums worth, that's for sure.
No. Number 26 is Laughing Stock by Talk Talk. The 5th and final studio album. There's only 2 of them left by this point, so they really were just Talk Talk. They did. They did. What's the song? Boom. What's it? Boom. 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 Oh, where's it go?
It's My Life. Did that them or is that not them?
I don't think so.
Don't know.
I can't remember. They'll come to me in a bit.
It's the one that goes Bomb Bomb.
Yeah. In at number 28 is No Place Like Home by Big Country.
Yeah, another big Scottish band.
Make it. That one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
That's Talk Talk.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was thinking of. It's that big heavy piano intro bit. What I was trying to do. Number 28, No Place Like Home, Big Country. They've gone all country. Number 36 is Pure by Midjaw.
Stupid.
Rhyming your album with your own name.
Just call it Poor. You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, he had that. A single we looked at the other week, didn't that? Cold Cold Heart, which I said was one of the smuggest, awfulest things I've ever seen.
He had that stupid opening, didn't he? I bet the album's full of stuff like that as well. A blend of ethnic rhythms. Midjaw can just...
Sounds like a coffee.
It does actually. It does actually.
Blend of ethnic rhythms and sweet spices.
Oriented spices.
As mixed by small baristas. Yeah. In at 29th September, in at number 1, as we mentioned before, Waking Up the Neighbours by Bryan Adams.
Yeah, can't stop this thing. Yeah, we can't stop
Plodding.
All right, yeah, if you like, people bought that because of the other song, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. Number 7 is Trompe Le Monde by Pixies. By the Pixies.
Your thing?
I've never listened to Trompe Le Monde, so I couldn't tell you much about it.
Another concept album.
Yeah. Number 8 is Screamadelica by Primal Scream.
I thought that was a big hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Had Loaded on it, didn't it?
Loaded, that's it. Gotta go, we'll have a good time. Yeah, that's the one there.
And at number 9 is Ceremony by The Cult.
That's why all the controversy. I see.
Yeah, so their fifth studio album represented a period of great turmoil within the band. Longtime bassist Jamie Stewart departed, and the working relationship between vocalist Ian Astbury and guitarist Billy Duffy was at an all-time low. The pair reportedly rarely agreed to appear at the studio together, opting to record their parts separately at different times. That's never good. Never good, is it?
No.
The band was sued for $61 million by the parents of the Native American boy pictured on the album cover in New York. The case against Warner Brothers Records was dismissed in February 1997 for lack of personal jurisdiction. A separate case was filed in the District Court of South Dakota, but was terminated on May 16th.
How strange. Because I believe that the same thing happened to Nirvana, because the guy that was the baby said that they tried to sue them because they said that he had his picture on that cover without his consent, and that he never agreed to it, and it laughed out of court as well.
Yeah, because you're a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to that in a minute. Number 10, Rock Till You Drop, Status Quo.
Another album.
20th. Rossi is particularly fond of 1991's Rock Till You Drop, reported classic rock a decade later. Guitarist Rick Parfitt hates the record.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
there you go.
That's him.
Number 29 is Worldwide with Everything But the Girl.
Probably good. Never been into them.
No.
Brown Sauce likes them, doesn't he?
Probably. He likes everything.
True.
And at number 32 is Mother's Heaven by Texas.
Yeah, what's her name? Charlene what? Spitter what?
Charlene Spiteri.
Yeah, the name that sounds like a ricochet. I don't like it.
This didn't do very well. They would come back much bigger when they sort of Britpop hits, like when they become very popular with the is it Chris Evans?
Chris Evans, he championed them, didn't he, a bit?
Yeah, and they came back quite big in the mid-90s. Yeah. So we haven't seen the last. Well, we've probably seen the last of Texas, but there you go. However, at number 36 is Nevermind by Nirvana.
That was a big old deal, wasn't it?
It's a massive deal, yeah. Their second studio album, obviously, after what was the first one? I can't remember. It's not Incesticide, I don't think. I can't remember what their first one was called now. Nirvana's first big release, produced by Butch Vig, featuring drummer Dave Grohl, joined, so they've got their sort of full sound. It's just massive, isn't it? It's just a massive, massive, massive album. And I listened to it recently, and it's still ace. It's still so good. I really like it.
Yeah, it is a good album.
Uncompromising, but poppy in places. It's dead heavy in places, but it's always approachable. It's just so many good tracks on it. You know, we talked earlier about, a little bit there. You were saying about sort of album fillers. I mean, this is almost the antithesis to Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Yes, very much so.
Whereas that's all, overblown pomp and circumstance in this. This is just raw emotion, anger and everything, and just Kurt Cobain just doing his thing. And it's, it's just so good. And it still stands up to this day. And you can see why it blew the doors off metal and rock and everything into a different place.
You can't really forget a track like Smells Like Teen Spirit or some of the others that are on there, can you?
The amount of times I've jumped around to that on the dance floor and stuff.
Yeah, damaged people.
Yeah, damaged myself, damaged other people. It's all a bit of a blur, that period of time. But such a good album. It also took away that noodly rock nonsense where you have to be twiddly and all. It's just like, no, it comes. Obviously, this is coming on the back of things like the Pixies and stuff, which Cobain was
the groundwork had been laid, hadn't it? I mean, and I think a lot of the time people often say, "Well, yeah, there was this." Nirvana came along and they were doing what punk bands did before. But the truth of that is that the punk movement, the original punk movement, was engineered by Malcolm McLaren, really, in a fashion trend. Punk was not a musical genre. Punk was a fashion genre. And it spilled into music because Malcolm McLaren and the whole movement saw to that. And so bands like the Sex Pistols and stuff that obviously became very popular and that spearhead of the brand of punk, shall we say, but not necessarily the actual punk music. Punk music stood for a kind of music that didn't have the production and didn't have necessarily the musical chops of a Slash guitarist and everything else. And in that instance, the rawness of Nirvana is another element of that. However, that's not to belie the fact that they were all very talented musicians, because by anyone's imagination. You've got a good drummer there, an incredibly talented bassist, and Kurt Cobain was at the time an excellent guitarist.
And really good songwriter as well.
It's hard. It's easy to look at Kurt Cobain and think that he was just slapping that guitar and swinging it around and just playing it, and he wasn't. It takes talent to be able to play the guitar in the way that he did and be able to convey exactly what he wanted to convey in the music, and to be able to sing and to be able to convey that feeling, which is what he did, would convey a sense of overwhelming depression and dread and sadness and all that stuff that you can convey. That's not easy to do, and Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 kind of proves it, because they kind of didn't do that, and Nirvana did it in maybe 2 songs. So
and he's gifted obviously with that voice. To be that's you can't you can hear other people sing, but Cobain just had that and the ability to convey so much emotion.
Absolutely, and the tragedy of course is that he cut his own life so short, because the very thing that happened, which was that they were suddenly surrounded by massive amounts of music executive and lots of, I think, was just overwhelmed him. I don't think that really, truthfully, was really what he was into it for. He had something he wanted to say, and he really needed to say it, and he expressed that. And I think, and when everyone tried to make him say more, I think that's where he started to struggle. But I didn't know him personally or anything. I'm just guessing from what the various articles and things I've read over the years. Tragedy, very great tragedy. What happened to him?
Yeah, Bleach was their first album. I can't remember.
Bleach, that was it. Yeah,
and then obviously they followed that up with what's the one with Heart Shaped Box.
Heart Shaped Box. Yeah, that's the album.
In Utero,
which is another good album. So now I'm also a big fan. I'm a huge. We're not come across them yet, I don't think, but I'm a huge fan of Pearl Jam for slightly different reasons. But I associate them with the same kind of them and what they're called, Black Hole Sun and all that.
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden. I kind of associate them bands in like a triangle for me. I know there's loads of other bands around that time, but those are the ones that just hit me with certain songs. Black Hole Sun's one of my very favourite songs. The other good thing about Nirvana, just to sort of say as well, is because we probably won't get much chance to mention them again. I don't know what they'll be releasing over the next songs and stuff, but obviously Smells Like Teen Spirit, but was the incredible MTV Unplugged they did. Yeah, that kind of set the benchmark for that, didn't it?
Yeah, which is just astonishingly good. You watch it now, the cover of Bowie's Man Who Sold the World and stuff like that. It's just incredible, just so good.
Yeah, you forget about that, and that's one of the greatest unplugged sessions of all time, isn't it? I mean,
so it's all stripped back.
It really was that good again.
No, and it shows the thing with those things is because it's all stripped back to acoustic guitars and acoustic bass and everything, and simple brushed on the drums. Those songs, which you might think, they need all the distortion and everything to. No, they don't. They're just really well written, really good songs.
No, there's a bit of his soul coming out in those songs, a bit of his pain, and you feel the pain in those songs in a way that not many artists can do, like I said, and some never do. Some try that and never achieve it. Cliff Richard, for example, never going to get there.
Not in that gold shirt.
I'd love to hear Cliff Richard do a version of Smells Like Teen Spirit, though, just to see what happened.
No, I don't. I couldn't. I think you need to wash your mouth out. I think that's one of the worst things you ever said.
No, I think it wouldn't be good. It'd be awful, but it'd be just funny to see him try and do that.
It'd be funny. Or Come As You Are.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, there you go. There's the music. An interesting month of music, for sure.
Yeah, lots of it too.
We're going to go away, take a quick break after all that, and come back. We've still got 2 more games to get through. So please do stay with us for those. And we're back. 2 more games for the month of September, part 2. Graham, it's over to you. And it's the ball game. You got to tell us all about the ball game. How's your ball game, Graham?
Yeah, it was interesting. This and odd, very odd. So $10.99. This was 70%. It got released by Electronic Zoo was the publisher for this. Copyright ESP. The design was Tim Page. The producer was it says it looks like it's spelled Darmid, but there's that. I don't know how you say that. Maybe it's Darmid Clark. I'll just say that. I don't know if that's how you say it. Apologies,
Clark, something like that, yeah.
Apologies, David Darmid, if you got that wrong. Coder here was Paul Crawley. He did Lunari and Pick and Pile. I don't know if we've ever got to them or have yet to get to them.
No.
And the graphics for this were Stephen Day. He's done loads of stuff, some of it quite modern. He did the recent version of Attic Attack that was out in 2020, but he also did BMX Simulator 2.
Oh.
He did a version of Chopper Command. He also did that Commando Arcade, the remake that came out. He did that, the graphics for that.
Oh, right, okay.
So he's done loads of modern stuff. And if you look at his credits, the list is massive. He did Grand Prix Simulator, Great Courts. He did Gunfight in 2017. He did International Karate Ultimate in 2018. So the guy's still doing stuff, and the graphics have all been pretty good. Lunari was one that he did the graphics for as well. Million Molly, he did the graphics for that. So,
Oh, nice.
Talented chap, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And the music for this is Wally Bevan. Well, he's done loads of other stuff as well, hasn't he? Dark Side, Hammer Fist, First Samurai, Inside Out In, Oops, Scuba Kids, Star Slayer, Road Wars. There's loads of them. Loads. Talented people can do talented stuff, can't they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they can.
I thought this had a nice title sequence and music. The music's all good in here. Nice sort of these balls appear and start fading out, gives you some credits. It's a proper sequence. So, and really what we're looking at, I suppose, with this is something that probably shouldn't work, really, but somehow it does. And I don't mean that it's broken disc. I mean, it's sort of complex. The idea of it probably shouldn't work, but it does. It's kind of weird. It's strategic, got elemental forces and teleportation in it, really, isn't it? So it's the ball game. What is the ball game then? Well, imagine a turn-based mashup of Othello, chess, and then add a bizarre elemental board game where fire, water, air, and earth are battling for dominance on an 8x8 board. That's what you've got here. Now throw in teleporting, jumping, and ball conversion mechanics. And that's really just scratching the surface of this kind of crazy thing, scratching the ball surface, should we say. I wondered how long
it was going to take. I've had my watch going.
I could have had a ball sniffing, ball scratching. I could have had. I'm not putting any of them in. So I said the graphics from the interesting title screen are bold. Yeah, and then you go to the sort of the selection screen. It keeps things simple, doesn't it? There's 1 to 0 options where you can choose the number of human players, the number of opponents you've got, the positions. You choose the input variety, the difficulty, whether the timer's on, SFX on or off. You put it in a demo mode if you really want to. You can start it, of course, and you can choose the language. So just very straightforward option screen, but it is what it is. And I like simple option screens like that. Nice, big and bold writing, no messing about, and the music just keeps on trucking, so it's all good. How do you play this game? You control an elemental character, and your goal isn't just to spam the board with your color. It's to dominate high-value tiles with the most valuable balls. Board's made up of 3 tile types. There are plain ones, which give you 1 point. There are green ones, which give you 2 points, and cream tiles, which give you 4 points. And it's not about quantity either, is it? This is not just about the ball quantity. It's very much about where you make your moves, where you place your balls. On your turn, you choose one of 3 actions. You can walk. Honestly. Steal yourself. Steal balls.
Will do. I'm going to put myself on mute, I think.
So you've got 3 actions. You can walk, which means you step into an adjacent square. This is the only way to create a new ball. Wherever you step from, a ball of your colour gets left behind. So you leave your balls behind if you go on a walk. You can jump, which leaps 2 squares away. You don't leave a ball when you do that, but any balls around where you land will flip into your colour. You flip balls if you jump. It's perfect for conversions and chaos. And there's teleport. Stay on the current tile and you'll zap to a random free spot on the board. But there's the catch. If the board's too full and there's nowhere valid to land, you're out of that level. You've got to be careful with that. Wild, I guess. Unpredictable, maybe. And does it reward both aggression and cunning? I don't know, maybe. Cunning retreats? I don't know. It supports up to 4 human players and 3 AI opponents. You can use mouse, joystick or keyboard. And I think mainly joystick and keyboard on the C64. It was out on other formats of mainly 16 bits Amiga and stuff. You can customize difficulty, like I said, language, and start at different levels. I don't know. There's a timer as well. You can let it run out on purpose, but if you lose you'll lose a teleport as a penalty. But sometimes doing nothing in this game is actually a valid strategy. Believe it or not, it's a strange old thing. How do you win? Yeah. Once everyone has teleported out, the game tallies the value of your balls. And you don't need the most balls, but you need the most valuable ones. So score 1,000 points and you'll earn an extra teleport. Win a round, another bonus teleport. The game doesn't technically end. It's a rolling competition of strategy, survival, and psychological warfare. So I'm led to believe. One memorable quirk, near the end of some rounds, you might find yourself in a deadlock with the computer AI, just flipping the same tiles back and forth endlessly. The computer does eventually stop doing that, though. I never got that happen to me, but it can. The board game is one of those strange, endearingly abstract titles that feels like a board game made digital. It's clever and competitive and maybe the right amount of chaos. I don't know. It never really got the spotlight it deserved. And maybe that's because it's a little slow on first appearance and not that interesting necessarily straight away. Granted, it's an amalgamation of a few other games. The idea is reasonably good and the graphics look really nice, actually. The main game is isometric, of course, and that gives you a good view of the tiles and their score values. Each player's running totals are in the corner and the player sprites work for what they are, little people, and they leave little balls around. The main game is isometric, of course. Quite clear, though. Quite a nice resolution on this. The display looked nice.
Yeah, it does. I agree.
Good choices of colour, actually, purples and the reds, and it's choosing the right colours, and these colours complement each other well here. Each player running totals are in the corners, like I said, and the sprites are okay. They're slow on the easier levels, and that can be a bit of a frustrating experience if your plan is to ramp up with this. But in here, I don't know if you kind of like this kind of thing. There is an okay puzzle game really in here. It is there. My main issue is one of payoff with this, because the game plays out. Essentially, you move the square. You put a ball there, and eventually you've got to try and get the high value squares. I mean, it's as simple as that. And obviously, your players are there to try and thwart you doing that. So they'll jump over and colour your balls, you'll colour their balls. There's balls stealing all over the place. And the levels get more progressively complex. Obviously, the layouts of the tiles get more complex, and you've got to try and navigate to the more valuable ones, which aren't always in the most obvious, easy to get places, and there's not necessarily a straightforward route to do things. And you've actually got to plan your routes a little bit in this. It's not like you can't meaninglessly go off in a direction in this game. Very quickly into it, you'll soon realize that you need to be thinking about where you're going to be and how you're going to get there, because that's exactly what all the other AI players are doing. It's fun in that respect. But my main issue, like I said, was one of payoff. Generally, these kind of games work in a board game context with a good player payoff. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, let's consider the classic frustration, the game frustration. And I don't mean the one with the pop-up things. I mean the one with the little, where you're moving you got the clicky thing in the middle, the dice in the little bubble, and you press that, and then you have to go around the board, and that one.
Okay.
And in that game, you can send players back to their home start point by landing on them. So there's this kind of a payoff of that. And I think this lacks some, and I'm not saying this game is bad for not having that, but it just lacks some of those kind of ideas, which give the game a little bit more depth and it gives it a bit more leeway. And that makes me think that it just lacks some of the design panache that maybe it needed. And that's not to say it's bad, because it's good. It's just how much mileage you get from that will depend on how long you can sort of put up with the premise and how many endorphins you release from doing the things that you can do in it. Leaping and changing ball colours can be satisfying, no doubt. But is it as satisfying as smashing a vertical diagonal and horizontal line with a well-placed token in Othello, for example, or sending someone back or landing on somebody and stealing all their coppets in the game Coppet? There's a formula to some of the extra mechanics that often lean into these kind of games. And this one just falls into a bit more Scrabble territory in that respect, and the payoff you get from getting scores, rather than the payoff that might be that you can just, blow other players up or just do stuff, or send them in a wild goose. I don't know. There seems to be a lack of player mechanics that you can incorporate to take actions on the other players to make their life more difficult. Other than the basic ones there seems to be a few, and I understand the logic of that, because it could get overly complicated. But I think just sometimes these kind of games that lean into this, they just need a thing. They need that thing, and that just didn't, for me, feel like this really had all of the things that it needed. It's just a bit too sedatory. It played that sort of sedatory card a little too well. And I do see a lot of this kind of game, in later things like Mario Party, really. This, strikes me as a very much a Mario Party game. But if that's sort of emphasizes my point, there's mileage in the puzzle aspect and there's mileage in it, but note the phrase party. There's no party in this game. It's needed a bit more life and fun. It's a bit devoid of that. And because of that, it feels a bit drier than perhaps it could have. All it needed was a little bit more fun and quirky sound effects and your ability to do some stuff maybe you could have a token that you could get and you could place it on the board and and that would make the tiles turn around, or just stuff like that. Maybe it needs a bit more stuff like that. Now, there is bits of that, but not enough. So I think, what do I think about the whole game really? So I do like it. I think it's an interesting idea, and in a sea of game average, this is a game that stands out both in terms of how it looks and how it plays, and it is different. I'll give it that. And there's a really nice idea, and there's a nice production and tonality to it. That's all the good stuff. It just lacks something, and I think it's just maybe it needs a little bit more fun under its belt. It needs to be a little less serious and a little bit more fun, a bit more pizzazz in it. But it's still good. It's just not as maybe pizzazzy as it could be. It needed more cowbell, I think is what I'm trying to say. But what did you think? Yeah,
pretty much the same. It's an interesting multiplayer game, this. I think obviously it takes its inspiration from Othello, because you're flipping balls, flipping colours and things like that, and landing and moving and dropping stuff. So there's thanks to that. I like the design of it. I think you're right. It looks nice. It's clean. It's well presented. Nice music. The sound effects in the main game are they're a bit sort of off, but they're all right. There's a certain pleasure to these types of games, I think, which you've tapped on there. And for these types of things where you trap your opponent, the games I was sort of thinking where you're trying to do these things to make your opponent make some drafts. Yeah. Drafts is another one where you're trying to lead them so you can do the jump over load of their piece and take them in one go, that kind of thing. Or what's it though? A simple game like Squares, where you've got the squares on the the dots and you try and sort of make squares. That is a sort of this. But so like you said, there's payoff in that and those set up. And even that with just pen and paper, I always think that's good. The AI is pretty good here. I found Easy offered a decent challenge, and I preferred Easy because Ludicrous took ages for him to make a move, even though they made look like they were making the same moves as Easy were, just did it quicker. I think my main thing with this is that, and I think you hit upon this, I'm not sure it needed 100 levels.
No.
And I don't know, actually, I didn't actually understand what I started off at the beginning and you played a level and then there was scores came up and you got the scores came up and then you started the next level and then you did the next level. I didn't know what I was kind of working towards. I didn't know what I was trying to win or not trying to lose. I didn't quite understand. I was like, am I winning? I didn't get the highest score, but I haven't won. I've just got on to the next one. And I found that when you've done all your options and you start the game, it's a starting level. If you move the joystick left and right, you can go up in increments of 10, can't you?
Yeah.
So if you start up around 60, 70, it's a much more interesting game because half the board's missing and it makes for a much faster, more interesting layout of where you strategically than just a full board which you can all just walk around, because that takes ages, level one. And I don't think that gives this a really good first impression because it seems slow and clunky. You're like, oh, this is really quite unimpressive. Put it up. Oh, actually, no, this is a bit more interesting, a bit faster. The visuals are nice, as I said. It's easy to see and work out. The colours work quite well. The rotational controls are a bit of a pain, though, I thought. Trying to pick which square you wanted to move on to wasn't, because it's just left and right, which sort of goes through a sort of sequence of everything you can go to. Rather than just pushing in the direction you want to go, which I thought would have been easier. But I did enjoy this. I thought it was good. You are right. It needs something extra, like the ability to jump on each other, and knock them off or knock them out for a go or two. Something, some special powers or something where you can affect different things or be able to drop like different types of balls behind you. Like ones that can't be taken, ones that do special damage, ones that explode, which clear parts of the screen, or you only got a limited number. All those kind of things, like you were saying, make this. And the Mario Party is a good call for that, because you would have that and all the chaos that would ensue from someone, you think you've got a load of balls in your colour and someone just drops an exploding one next to them and they're all gone.
Exactly. And you need that.
Yeah, and it opens the board up again. And because once the board gets closed, the board is closed.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. But like you said, we've seen a few of these sort of puzzle type games recently, quite a few. But in a sea of driving games, shooting games, and football simulator games, it's nice to see these kind of different approaches to games and stuff. So this is good, and probably going to be the pick of the week, I think. But we'll maybe get to that. But it's good. It's decent, but it's just lacking kinetic fun, I think is what it needs. Yeah. There you go. The ball game. The Ball Game. Strange title as well. I'm not quite sure. I think they could have come up with something better.
Yeah. Balls.
All right.
Mighty balls.
And the monkey's paw did clench one finger down.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we have a better title for this? The Ball Game. Bollocks.
Bollocks, mighty balls, big balls.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. The Ball Game. Let's move on. We've still got one game to get to. And that game is Rubicon. We've crossed the Rubicon.
Was there a demo of this on the cover tape as well?
There was at some point, I think. Yeah. Maybe this week. I don't know, this month, I don't know. From 21st Century Entertainment and Twisted Minds comes Rubicon. £10.99 to you and me. Got 88% in the magazine.
Okay.
Almost a sizzler, that.
Nearly there.
Yeah, there was seems to be a bit of a history on this one as well, because this was what I could make out. Lost down the same rabbit hole that Moonfall fell down when Houston Consultants bit the dust.
Okay.
I don't know whether it was supposed to come out then, but they had it. because then obviously Houston Consultants came back as 21st Century Entertainment, and they were the ones who released Moonfall, and then they released this as well. So I'm not sure of the chronological pacing of this, but that's what I could seem to certain around it. There was there's an interview with the guy who ran Houston Consultants, and I can't remember his name. Andrew Houston, maybe, or whatever. But they asked him about this. He went, I can't remember anything about it. I was like, oh, great. That's great. All I know for certain is he got reviewed in Zap, and so here it is. So, yeah, Twisted Minds is the developer. That is Frederick Carl on coding. Graphics by Joachim Lundgren. And music, of course, by those maniacs of noise, Haroon Tell and Rain Wiand. So Carl and Lundgren, they both worked on a game called No Mercy back in 1989. We never saw that, never got reviewed in Zap. It was a light gun game by the looks of it.
Okay.
But this is their other game on the system. There is a story to the game, and it is thus. The Rubicon story. In May 2011, an accident in a Soviet nuclear power plant situated on Koala Island caused a major disaster. Radioactivity was spread over an area of 300 square miles with a radiation value of 1,230,000 rad. Okay. I guess that's high. The Soviet Union and Finland were evacuated immediately. That's a big lot of land.
Strange thing to do.
Soviet Union. Months later, terrifying mutations of animals were discovered in the area where radiation had spread. The only survivor tells us, these creatures were beyond recognition, but seemed to possess the intelligence of mankind. I'm guessing he died. It's your mission to disarm the nuclear weapons before one of the mutations starts using them. I do like that idea. What are they? You're just going to use them. Good luck. We place our trust in you. So the aim of the game is to make your way through the various radioactive areas, reach the nuclear base, and disarm the nuclear weapons stored there. On the way, you'll be attacked by various mutations, which must be destroyed at all costs. Note that to gain entry to the nuclear plant at the end of the game, you must find and collect all the SW units along the way, as these stabilize the weapons enough for you to enter unharmed. All right. So the game loads up with it's got an impressive front end, this. I played the cartridge version. I'm guessing all these front end screens were present in the original. I don't know. But first up, there's some confusion here. I got some confusion here. First up, we get a nice image. It's a bare-chested man with a gun, and he's looking to be on a world that is not Earth. Okay. There's moons and planets in the sky. I'm like, that's not Earth. So then we get another image of a man in a helmet looking bemused slightly. He's looking off to the left. Again, on a planet that is not Earth. There's moons and planets in the sky. And there's a pair of monstrous eyes looking over him. Ooh. I mean, nice pair of images. I have no idea what they have to do with the game, though. No. I don't know. So I don't get it. This then segues into the title screen. Again, high on presentation. Good piece of music here from the Maniacs. Loads of effects, sort of visual effects. As the logo changes, portraits of the dev team switch in. There's a high score table scrolling up. High score entry number 30 was Lamer, which made me chuckle. It feels very of its time. It all feels very demo-like. Lots of demo effects, lots of stuff going on.
I thought that.
But there's certainly been some effort put into it. I can't fault them at that. Sort of portraits of the... I think it's portraits of the developers and things like that, and these sort of grey. It's good. It's a nice front end. Can't knock it for that. There's no options though. There's just it. So you press fire. We get a loading screen with a rather heavy set silhouette of a man running for some reason. I don't know why. Didn't understand why. It's just a white silhouette of a guy running. It's like, what? Who's that? Why is there? And at this point, you might also think, hang on, it looks a bit like Hawkeye. And you'd be right, because it does. The UI at the top, which appears here, is your score and health bar and your lives. It looks very like the Hawkeye UI, the way it's designed and shaded. It's got that kind of nice sort of... It's just a bar. It's nice. We press fire to get into the game. Once it has loaded, the man stopped running. We get our first glimpse of the action. The game window under the UI takes about 3/4 of the screen. The first thing that happens is a dropship drops the player off, and we get to start. The player himself is nicely drawn. It's a couple of sprites high, sporting a trendy mullet. He's holding a gun. The controls are simple enough: left and right to run, fire to shoot. You have to tap fire; you can't hold it down. Up to jump and down to duck. Basic controls.
The basics.
Good music. Yeah, good music. And graphics on the background. They're a little grey. This first level suffers from grey. They're well drawn though. They look good. Lots of nice dithering going on around the place. So the action though, once you've taken all that in, you start running to the right. It's pretty one note. There's not much there's not much variety in this game. This game is all about going right and shooting stuff. And after all that nice presentation, all those nice visuals, good stuff, this is the point the game fell apart for me. The enemy waves, whilst designed and always the same, so they all come at you at the same time, feel arbitrary and off. There's no thematic consistency to any of them. It just feels like the story of being on Earth and radiation leaks was cooked up after the game was finished for some reason. It doesn't feel like I'm running around on Earth. It feels like something like, Trantor or games like that. At no point, it doesn't feel like Earth, and that would explain the opening images. But okay, let's put the context and the story to one side, all right? That's just what it is. The enemy waves are random. You'll get flying eyeballs, then a bird will fly across the top, then slow-moving jellyfish. Then you run into a dragon just sat there resting. You have to jump up and shoot him in the face a few times. And some more orbs flying past. And then finally a helicopter flies past. Like, none of this makes any sense. And I know it's like, weird radiation zone and stuff like that. But none of this there has to be some consistency and thing to this. And you're just running left to right, shooting stuff. That's all you do. Graphics all look good. There's an overabundance of grey, which gives the game a weird washed-out appearance. And it lacks any kind of vibrancy to it. Whereas, Hawkeye, Flimbo's Quest, those kind of games, Turrican, they look vibrant and nice and bright. All that use of grey shading just makes everything look really dull and pale and weird. So the second level, if you get to that, is more basically it's just the sort of gameplay is split up with you run along, there'll be moving enemies coming towards you, that you won't be able to scroll past them until you've shot everything. Then you'll get to a big enemy, which in situ, you have to shoot it usually in the face or it'll float around. You shoot it a few times. Then you can scroll along again, more floating enemies, then the next bit, the next stop, start. And it's very stop-start in that way. And that's how this game plays all the way through. You do that. The second level is very yellow. It's got brick walls. I can't tell you what these levels are supposed to be because there's nothing in the instructions to say. And I couldn't tell really from looking at them, say, this is the jungle level or this is this level. Or just couldn't tell really. The enemies, again, are just completely random. At one point in this level, though, you rescue a weird creature from a cage and you can ride on it for a while, kind of like the things in Golden Axe. Kind of like a little sort of, it's the thing off the front cover of the magazine. It's that. And that sort of fires fireballs out its mouth. So instead of shooting pistol, you shoot them. That's okay. That's a bit of variety, but it's still the same thing, left to right shoot. Level 3 is all blue, white icicles. I think you're in a frosted zone here, but again, the weird creatures just feel like random additions. There are annoying parts as well. You got to jump on there's a bit in this, you have to jump up on a pipe. The nice animation as you climb up the pipe, but there's these sort of bouncing cricket-like things that bounce across the floor, and they don't come once, not twice, not even thrice, 4 times. You've just got to wait for them to sort of, because you can't shoot them from the front. You just drop down, shoot from behind, climb back up on the pipe. It's like, what? It's just boring.
Yeah.
And then for some reason you get attacked by a series of AT-STs and then a tank. I'm like, it's just throw everything at the wall design. It's like, what can we draw that'll look cool? Level 4 sees in the brown tech level before the final level introduces to being chased by lava, which is a nice effect. You fall into water, you have to waggle to swim before we get a final dragon. We kill that, and then you get an overblown ending sequence and the world thanks you and Sweden says well done or something. I don't know. None of the levels are particularly long or hard. The big monsters are mostly bullet sponge bore fests. There's at one point you have to kill an alien queen at the end of the 4th level. There are also, and this is a massive omission for this type of game, no power-ups or extra weapons. Okay. I don't get it. There's none. You just have the same single-shot machine gun for the entirety of this game, apart from climbing on the back of that thing. That's it. But that's not a power-up. That's just, I don't get it. Nothing really puts in much of a challenge. You can shoot it without. It's fine. But it's boring to not get some nice alternative weaponry. This kind of game is crying out for that variety. There's some solid visuals and some great music here. And some of the visual effects like the wave of lava, the big enemies are impressive. And the intro and outro are all good. But the actual game is so one note, it just becomes very dull and not very interesting at all.
No.
If you put this up, right, against Midnight Resistance, which is similar, left to right run and gun, there's no comparison really. I don't know when this was completed. I mean, if it came out in 89 or something, you might have fared better because we wouldn't have had Midnight Resistance at that point, but we have got it now. And it's far better in the run and gun stakes. That's a far better game that does this better on the machine. And I sat down and I looked at this game and I thought about it and I was like, what they should have done with this, because of the weirdness of the creatures and the monsters and the things that are flying at you, they should have just done a standard spacecraft horizontal shooter. Yeah. And I think this would have been much better, Catechist style, R-type style. Yeah. I think it would have suited the enemies. It would have suited the style of play. It would have been much better. It just would have felt better rather than just this run and gun thing, because I don't think the run and gun thing really adds anything to it. The waves of enemies feels like it's where they belonged and they were making something and then maybe we changed it. I don't know. Just doesn't work for me. It's certainly not worth 88% in my book. It's not terrible. I mean, it looks and sounds really good. I'll give it that, but it just plays it's just really boring to play. It's really dull. It's a perfect example of a 67% game in my book. It's 2/3. I just forgot it's a one-note game. It's not that it's bad. It's just a bit dull because you don't do anything else in it. And there's nothing there. Like you were saying about the ball game, it needs those extra elements that we've come to expect by now. All those things where, you could have had a flamethrower, you could have had all kind of different weapons, multi-shot, spread shot, alien, weird sort of, you could have picked up radioactive weapons that did weird stuff. There's loads of ideas that you could have done with this, but there's just none of it here. So in the end, Rubicon, just a bit dull. And I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be quite better than it was, but that was my take from this. What about yours?
Yeah, I mean, the portly running sprite man made me laugh a lot when that first appeared, because it was just like, so it reminded me of me as a teenager running. And I was like, he was breathing a bit heavy when he was, a bit out of breath. Yeah. Reminded me of when the one time I played football, there was another guy, just as this complete aside, there was a guy playing football who was running. He was another guy that was well built. And after he'd finished running, he was trying to talk to the referee at the game, but he couldn't. He actually had no breath in his body left after we'd been running about. So he was just going for ages. It reminded me of that. And that's what that guy was doing. He was breathing like that, I imagined. So for no reason, it's just like a portly sprite running, and there he is, portly. But okay. The game itself, it was just like the sequel to Hawkeye that never was, wasn't it? Not as good. Graphics were very dithered, shady, raster, demo shading. It was demo style all the way through this.
Yeah.
Main sprite was good. The sprites in the game were quite imaginative and good. They had a washed out look to them occasionally, though. But they were there, and it had a nice parallax scrolling, but it had logo designers for demo groups written all over them. That style of shading I've seen in so many logo designs for demo groups. And I've even done my fair share of them, so I know exactly what that dithery effect is. And the tones they've chosen are demo tones, without a doubt. And it played okay for what it was, but it was just mundane, a fairly mundane run and gun shooter that was just, it kept stop-starting all the time, and it just seemed to be a bit of a trip to nowhere. I don't like it. Should have just kept on running, really. Just the stoppy start nature of the big impressive bosses, such as they are, the dragons and things, but they all just, it didn't feel like it was much of an upgrade to do anything. It just kind of went along shot things. Like I said, nice graphics, nice sprite design, probably well put together. The music I felt was okay, but ill-suited to this game in the classic Maniacs of Noise tradition. It just kind of, it's good music, but maybe not for this kind of shoot 'em up. Hawkeye wasn't. And it was really hard as well, but it just made for a fairly unsatisfactory, it had everything going for it in the right way. It just missed the mark on, and the classic thing that happens with these demo coders turn game makers is that they just forget about putting much more game in it than running backwards and forwards. It's got a few really good scrolling routines in it that you'd see from a demo, and there's some sprite shooting and stuff. But then what? You're just accumulating score, and they've wrapped a little bit of narrative maybe in there somewhere, but for what? It's just a bit meaningless and a bit bland, which is odd. It wouldn't have taken much to give this game a little bit more sparkle. I think what it could have done with is less visual, less stuff in the screen, try not to be so impressive with your graphics. And think more about what you're going to do with them. It's a great tech showcase for some really interesting ideas, this, but it didn't have a game in it as far as I could say. How long am I going to go on for? Just running and doing this and getting the jetpack and flying around was meaningless. It just felt like a meaningless meander. And a run and gun should never be that. It should be, Hawkeye was many things, and it did have its faults as well, but it was short, blasty levels where you're running along, blasting things, collecting those things, and then you were next, and then all of a sudden you were getting lightning bolted at next level, and that's what it was. This is just, without those bits, it's just kind of run along, shoot, fly around, shoot, run along, shoot. Graphics are okay, but and they do get impressive in some of the late levels, but if that's all there is to it, then I'm afraid I'm kind of tuning out of it. So that was this great shame of it, really, is that it was a game that had quite the potential and just kind of never got there. So, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, same as me. There we go. That's Rubicon. And that's it. That's our first 4 games for September 1991. Done and dusted. What we played? We played Outrun Europa.
We did.
Technically very good, but not Outrun.
No, it wasn't.
Outrun. 2-player soccer squad. Technically terrible. I'm terrible.
Yeah.
The ball game, probably the best of the week. Just lacking those final bits of the puzzle to make it really, really good.
Yeah.
And Rubicon, which basically is just say the same as what we said for Outrun Europa. Apart from it's obviously not an Outrun game, but technically all around the edges is good. The middle is a hollowed out husk.
Yes.
So there we go. We will carry on next week. We have 4 more games to round out September. There's only 8. Those games are Rodland. Rodland. I want to help you, Rodland. Striker Manager. Oh, that's another cult one. They're back. I can't believe that 25% of the games you have to play this month are from Cult.
I can believe it. I don't want to believe it, though.
Inspector Hecty in the Interchange.
What the hell? Okay.
I had a look at that. That's interesting and quite okay puzzler. I had a quick look. So I'm not too familiar. And finally, American 3D Pool.
Okay.
Which we'll obviously have a look at. And that's it. If you want to support the podcast, you can do that. We have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/Zapped and for less than a price of a pint of beer, obviously, you can sign up, get access to the Discord, join us, get the episodes advert free and early, join in on our end of year stuff and any Ask the Podcast stuff and all the kind of things we do like that. So if you fancy that, get yourself over there. What you waiting for? Join us. Yeah, what you doing? You can buy us a Ko-fi on co-5/Zapped. Or you can just, interact with us on the social media things. So all of those, when I sort of post up, or just get in contact via the website, zappedtothepast.com, go to the shop, zappedtothepast.shop, buy yourself a hat or a mug or a t-shirt. It's all good. So yeah, that's about it, I think. Anything else you'd like to add, Graham?
No, I dread the thought of more cult games, but let's see what Rodland is like when we get there.
I want to help you, Rodland. We'll see. We'll see indeed. Okay, right. I think we'll call it a day then. With a lot of stuff going on there, and it's quite late here at Zapped to the Past. So, as ever, I have been Little Maxwell.
Maxwell, what are you doing? Are you still recording?
I am.
And I've been Little Mince.
Hey, Little Mince, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Thanks. Yeah, not too bad. How's your Axel doing?
Oh, he's doing quite well. I think he's watching Slash do a solo.
Oh, that's nice. But my prince has had a cold. Not been very well.
Oh no, I feel quite bad for him.
I went to get him a box of tissues, but I fell in the box and I couldn't get out.
Oh, did he help you out? How did you get out?
He did in the end, yeah. But I was actually ended up using the tissues as like sheets and bedding because I slept in there for 3 days. But it was all right.
Oh,
all right.
Sounds quite nice, actually.
It was actually. It was soft. He didn't mean it though. He didn't mean it.
Were they triple ply?
Well, they were by the time I'd finished. Yeah. So I had to piss and shit in there as well. But I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, mince.
No, it's nothing worse than wiping your ass on your own bedding. It's horrible.
We've all been there.
We have all been there. I know Slash has.
Yeah, absolutely. Actor like stop this.
And I've been Graham Ruddings.
And you've been listening to Zapped to the Past. We will see you again next week. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Zapped to the Past podcast. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the world of Commodore 64 games, as well as the music, films and TV from around the 1980s, driven, of course, by the issue of Zap 64 magazine published at that time. We will return with a whole new batch of games and stuff to talk about next week. Until then, if you want to listen to or download previous episodes of Zapped to the Past, and why wouldn't you, they can all be found on our website at zappedtothepast.com, as well as being available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Deezer, Audible, Player FM, and, well, pretty much anywhere where we can upload them. By the way, we do always love to hear from our amazing listeners, so if you'd like to contact us about anything in the podcast or beyond, you can do so by emailing us at zappedtothepast@gmail.com. We're also active on Twitter under @ZapTother, as well as Facebook, Instagram, and most social media platforms. Just search for Zapped to the Past and you'll find us. Oh, and if you like the podcast and what we're doing, please do like, share, review, rate us. It really helps. Something, apparently. The Zapped to the Past podcast is written and produced by Adrian Mills and Graham Ruddings, and recorded at Flaky Bits 2.0 Studio. All opinions expressed are those of the writers, and while we indeed love Zap 64 magazine, the Zap to the Past podcast is not affiliated with it in any way. Stay safe, see you next time, and remember, we play these games so you don't have to.